We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing programs beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by...
Me, Cosmo Mom 09. And
Ned Stark.
And...
Karina D.
That's it.
Yep.
Well, no, Bridget is going to join us hopefully soon. She's having some technical issues as she reboots and things like Rick Grimes.
Boots and pants and boots and pants.
Exactly. But we're here to join you. You're here to join us live. No editing for this guy as we talk about The Last of Us's second episode of season 2, titled Through the Valley. I have to say, so I was writing up my notes. Every time I wanted to write Through the Valley, I'm like, what is the name of this episode? First, you ever get that in your head? Where you're, oh, is it Jackson or Jefferson? You know it's Jefferson, but for some reason you get stuck on the other one and you say the wrong thing. I had a lock with the name. I just Through the Valley.
Through the Valley.
I don't know. Anyway, it's great to be here with all of you live again for the second week in a row at a different time, not 6 p.m. Eastern U.S., but 7 p.m. Eastern U.S., and we'll be like this until next week. I think episode 4 is when we'll move over to Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we will maybe have a special guest joining us outside of Karina. Do you feel betrayed?
No. More the merrier.
Cool. But we're still working that out. It's very likely that it's going to happen, but you know how it is. You don't want to say anything in case something happens and they back out. And what was that for, right? Hey, everybody in the chat. First of all, Punky Brewster saying hi, and Francisco saying hey, and Rachel saying hi. I'm doing it for you. You're not even here. It's fine. You're not here. It's cool. No, I'm kidding.
am I
I'm
frozen
joking.
again?
No, you're good. You're good.
No.
You're good. And Francisco saying, no editing. Oh boy, I want to hear some spicy opinions. You will, because there's no editing. You've been in our recording studio, which, by the way, you in the audience can join when we're not going live. That's when you follow us on ko-fi.com/squawkingdead and patreon.com/squawkingdead. Either or is fine. It'll send you notifications when our studio links change. We usually pin the studio links to the top of our posts so that you can join us for free. It's free to follow us on Ko-fi and Patreon, and it's free to join us in the studio when we're not live, so you can weigh in on the episode. Your opinions will make it to the episode, hopefully, if they're smart enough. Right, Francisco? Yet we read everything he said in the Fallout episodes, even if we didn't agree with them. Hey, Bridget, look at that, the Bridge Meister. Now, Bridget, say who you are. Because it's fun. I love when she says who she is.
We're live. Oh, we're live. Okay. We weren't
forgot
live
again.
a second ago when I joined because I have it pulled up on my phone, Dave.
You're wrong. It's okay. You can be wrong. Right, Bridget?
No, I'm not wrong because I literally had the live pulled up, but it's fine. Hi, I'm Bridget.
You can wait, I'll do it. You can find me on ko-fi.com/Punky Brewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER.
I don't want to be here.
Well, why not, Bridget? Why not?
I've been holding this in since we first started covering this. Of one.
Oh. Okay.
One, I knew this already.
Yes.
2, this is why I told Karina I don't want to play that horrible game. Please, for the love of God.
I want to be that
Please,
horrid
for
game.
the love of God, come and be on this.
Suffer for everyone else.
Semper Fidelis, Bridget. Semper Fidelis.
Hi, Heather.
Oh, that means it's fine. Hey, Heather. Oh, Heather, by the way, very sweetly shared, because we have social media, and you should follow us on social media, and you can get to all of that on our
Shut up.
squawkingdead.com if you want to. If you're on social media, it'd be a good idea, because sometimes we post a heads up on when we're going to go live on things. And when we posted it to Instagram, Heather instantly, I'm not joking, instantly shared it in her story saying, I want Squawking Dead to help me process this episode, of which many of you who've played the games but had a feeling, because you played the game, that this moment was going to come, and we were talking about this clandestinely because if you know, you know, that this moment may come, and it did come, and it came. As Karina will go into probably when it comes to comparing the scene that we know we're all dying to talk about.
No,
Did I use a bad turn of phrase?
I don't appreciate the bad pun either. I don't.
I didn't mean it. I didn't. I promise I didn't mean it.
He's beating us over the head with a club.
Par for the course.
She did it.
No.
That was
the
a
best
hole in
one.
one, Karina. Karina got a hole in one.
I'm sorry. I've had 5 years to process this. So I'm like,
She's had her puns
fine.
I
ready in
know.
advance.
fine.
I know. I get it. I
not
should
ready
have
for it,
processed
I get
it
it.
already, but I just I haven't and I can't and I
Well,
refuse.
seeing it happen is different because it's quite brutal. So I understand.
And the
I
realism
mean, I knew
element.
it was coming. I've known
Yeah.
it was coming the whole time. You know, like you knew it was
But-
coming. But
The thing
I'm
is that
still
we
100%
didn't
in
really
denial.
know. If you think
well,
about
I was
it.
like,
Yeah.
please make a giant change from the source material for some reason.
I
One
think
time they
this-
do.
The same thing I was begging when I knew what was going to happen to Pedro Pascal in Game of Thrones. I knew what was going to happen to Oberyn, and I was like, please change this. Please change this.
I actually just I just sent Dave. I've sent Dave a couple TikToks like while I was rebooting my computer.
You did?
Yes, you need
Oh,
to
on
you need to
TikTok.
repost them
Okay.
for Walking Dead. But
Gotcha.
one of them was someone being like, "Please, tell us." It was like an interview on some red carpet. "Please, Pedro, tell us, like, you'll never play another character that'll have such a brutal death as Oberyn did, will you?" And he's like,
Maybe.
And he turns to the camera in his Pedro
Yeah.
way.
"Maybe."
Like, turns black
No,
and
he
white,
didn't.
like-
It's like he's like holding it in, like he was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Maybe,
He really didn't want to answer the question.
maybe."
And then he bowed and said, acting. To your point, by the
Which,
way,
again,
Francisco says,
reminds-
quote unquote, I don't want to be here. That's what Pedro said when he read the script. I don't think he had a choice in the matter, by the
In
way.
an interview with Entertainment Weekly, he did say, "I only took the role because I knew that I would be off." So
Love this generation
This
that
is
can't
like
say
a
the
Pedro.
word killed on a death show. We're called Squawking Dead. We can't say the word kill.
it's the algorithm, Dave. I'm trying to help.
It's not us.
Swear word the algorithm, he says ironically.
Swear word.
Of all the things we can't say. Anyway, I'm so sorry I cut you off. Bridget, sorry, Sharon, you were about to say something.
I don't remember what it was now. It's okay.
I'm the ruiner again. Sorry, I just finished listening to that. Housekeeping. Let's do a little bit of that before we continue because we have to. If you may or may not know, you're watching us here right now live, and we're not always live. And case in point, when it comes to not being live, and because we can't be, we just dropped our episode of Dark Winds last night on our YouTube channel. The 7th episode of the 3rd season, titled Ta'al Go. That's the penultimate episode of season 3. So check that out on YouTube. It dropped this morning on all podcast platforms, including Spotify videos. So if you like listening to these things, maybe you should check it out, because now my sister is, which is great. My sister's watching Dark Wind. She's speed running through it. And I told her to don't watch our first episode because it recaps seasons 1 and 2. I don't want to ruin it for you, but I'm helping her get into it. I was surprised. She kind of likes it. There's a little bit of genre blending in the series, and I didn't expect her to like it, and she really does. So she's a very finicky lady, as you can imagine, being related to me by blood. Second bit of housekeeping is, what was it now? This is actually a pretty big thing that I've been working on for a little while now. I was flirting with actually doing this, and then I decided to just pull the trigger. On our Ko-fi page, we opened up our requests section. Our request section is a lot like our shop section, only for services rather than digital or physical items. One of the requests, here, in this order is for $10, you can actually request a shout out in the next episode. It's a 10-second shout out, so like $1 per second. And you're muted, Bridget, but that's okay. denied me some. Oh, okay. Like anyway.
No. I was like, you said you can request to pay for services, and both Rachel and I were like,
I know how
what
I
does
said
that
that.
mean?
It's like you
she
don't know.
said it
It's
in
like you
that
don't
way.
know.
And it
You
was
can
weird.
now for my feet, you can pay $15. Only $15. Kidding. For $10, you can get a 10-second shout out in the next episode. You decide how you want us to refer to you. These are personal shout outs, so no companies or brands or podcasts or whatnot. This is just you asking for a personal shout out. You can write any message you want. We'll probably allow it, but it is upon our determination whether or not we say it out loud. I will be pre-recording it so that everybody else can enjoy it. So in the usual Dave fashion, I will say it. And we have 3 other slots in our request sections, and they're all related to advertisements. So we have 3 30-second spots, one for the beginning of the episode, the mid-rolls, and also the end of the episode. They're differently priced based on where they are because obviously if we do the ad at the front of the show, it's obviously going to be a little bit more expensive because it's the first thing people see. The mid-roll is an advantageous spot, but less important in case people tune out. And at the end of the episode is the cheapest of the 3. It's the standard rate is 30 seconds, and we will help you do that. It's maximum of 1 image with a couple of add-ons. So check that out. If you are a brand, podcast, business, service, and you want some visibility, check us out. It's ko-fi.com/squawkingdead and hit the requests section at the top ribbon, and you're off to the races.
What if people request like the opposite? What if somebody paid money and they were like, I don't want Dave to talk for the whole episode?
Well, no, these are like shout outs and advertisements, but you know what?
But this would be like the opposite. This is like a
And
it's
from anonymous,
instead of a
and
shout
it
out.
definitely did not come from Rachel's IP address at all.
I will hunt you down.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
I have a special set of skills. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We've done it before, though.
This would be even more chaos without you.
Arguable. Because Karina, I had this idea because we were talking about when we would record. Some people had off today because of bank holiday and whatnot. And there was a possibility that we may have gone earlier. And I was like, Karina can run this stuff. Karina, she's my straight man. She can handle all this. So I wasn't worried. And between her and Bridget is pretty like, you just got to do it this way and straight. Hey, guys, we've been talking about this too long. She'll yell at me, but now she can't. She has to be nicer about it because it's not me.
That's true.
You don't have to be nicer.
I would be nicer to you guys than I would be to Dave.
Exactly. But she said, guys, I think we've talked this one to death. And like, Dave, all right, already, let's move on. Great segue, because Bridget, why don't you read the chat that we missed while I was squawking away?
Oh, yes. Thank God I have it pulled up on my phone, because otherwise that request is ridiculous, Dave. Because I can't see it. Anyway.
For some reason.
Okay, so there's kind of been a lot said, but Heather she just shouts, I did not know, in reference to
that's
what
she
happened
said to me. Yep.
in this episode.
In private.
Francisco stated, I thought they were going to drag it out for later, but doing it on episode 2 is ballsy.
Smart.
Makes me wonder, what will the viewership be like next week? How many people will be around to see the point of view on this storyline between Ellie and Abby?
Yeah.
I think they nerfed Abby a bit, talked a whole lot compared to the games. The golf club was split in half. Heather said, my initial reaction was F this show. Ooh. I'm not watching anymore.
Wow.
But I quickly turned it around to appreciate it as an incredible episode of television. So impressed. Francisco then states, I think the cinematography in the scene could have been chopped better, but gameplay cinematography will always be better. It's the first one you experience too, so it's like that changes the way that you view a storyline.
Well, and you can do a lot more in CG too. So
I don't know. Something about seeing it as a video game changes the way that you view it when you see it then as a TV show or movie.
There were a lot of very video gamey shots throughout this episode.
Much.
I noticed a lot. Like, I've never played the games, of course, but I mean, you could just tell, like, this is obviously a shot from the game. Yeah.
Oh my God, did you hear that? A little wheeze. I'm sorry.
Do you need an inhaler? Like,
Yeah. No, I'm fine.
I have one.
No, I'm fine. Yeah, check. Just did a check right now. Let's see. Is that it? I mean, he did say Dave is keeping all the birds well behaved. Good on him. I noticed he didn't
I
read
didn't
that.
see that.
I
No, I
noticed he
didn't see
didn't
that.
read that. It's fine. It's fine. Bridget, it's fine. Okay, let's move on. I think all the housekeeping we have is good. I know that Dead City will be here in 2 weeks as well. And we have a lot to look forward with that. We will make some announcements as that comes because a couple things, maybe a little bit more housekeeping. I will be going to the early screening of the first episode next week, actually, on the 28th. Is it Tuesday or Monday? I think it's Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how to
You're
do math.
going, Dave?
I'm going. Yeah.
How dare
The
you?
early screening. Now,
Also-
wait, that's different from the Paley Fest panel, which is the following day, which we applied for press. Now that Bridget said, I have to say something now. I got some traction. We put the application in. I had some communication back and forth between me and Paley Fest, and so maybe that'll happen. We'll see. If that's going to happen, we'll have some static cam, and our friend Thomas will be there, maybe doing the other camera. So that'd be kind of cool. So we'll see. Oh, and Heather, you're right. Heather's going to be there as well, right, at the Paley Fest panel.
I will not be there. I'm so sad.
Yeah. We talked about this, but
I know.
and I didn't want to say anything until it actually happened, but I know I'm going to be at the early premiere for Dead City season 2 premiere. Okay, let's talk about this episode. If I may say, we have to do the thing because I know we want to talk about the meat, but Through the Valley, how does the title relate to this episode in particular? And can we start with Rachel? Because I want her to say the things. If you don't mind, Rachel.
What things do you want me to say?
How does the title relate to this episode?
Through the valley, like where all the mushroom monsters were running through the valley.
Dude, you just did it. Boop.
There you go.
There it is. Anybody else?
I would say, considering the.
I'm so sorry. It's just, when you're like, I can't believe that just happened. What do you want me to talk about? Oh, yeah, like those mushroom? Yeah, you want me to talk about that? Done. It's all good. Next,
gosh.
moving on. Cut, print. What are you waiting for? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Yes, in the valley. We are in a valley of emotion. We're all
that's a
very,
good
very
one.
upset. We're at the bottom, the lowest we could possibly be, I think. A lot of fans are. People who knew it was going to happen and people who didn't know it was going to happen.
Obviously, Heather.
So, yeah.
I don't
So
know what you're
everyone-
talking about. I'm still in denial.
It's not real.
He'll be back next episode. Put a band-aid on it.
He's
He'll be
fine, right?
Who is that again from
Put a
Better Call
Band-Aid on
Saul?
it.
It was not
Ignacio Nacho. Yeah.
Nacho. Yeah.
Nacho.
Oh, no, we can't talk about that.
It's just a flesh wound.
We can't talk about that.
By the way, I had that in my head at that scene, by the way, because as Manny, the last guy who kicked Ellie in the stomach, was passing him by, calls him pendejo. I was like, is he gonna pee on him? Just like what's his name did?
What?
The head guy? Anyway.
Yeah. They did actually change in the game. He spits on him, and they did not do that in this. So it was a little aggressive. Yeah.
We'll see. I was gonna say no, they should have. I'm like, maybe they shouldn't have. They pulled away. I mean, am I wrong here? But they pulled back a little bit more here in many spots when it came to that scene. It felt like.
So certain aspects of it, yes, but you actually do see more of what Abby does to Joel. So
right, that's what I mean.
We
yeah.
stay on that longer, but they pulled back the way they treated Dina and Ellie. In the game, it's actually Tommy and Ellie. So they changed the people that were involved, and they were definitely a lot more violent with them in the game. So
that's gonna make more sense with what I want to say later. But go ahead.
Okay.
No, keep going. But what else? What else is there?
Oh, there's so much that I could talk about. How far in do you want me to go? Just that scene specifically, or from the beginning?
We might as well, because if we'll go back to just how they pulled back when it
Okay.
came to the games and the show, but and
Yeah.
then we'll go back
So
to the Valley if we even have anything more to say. Do we have anything more to say about Through the Valley as it relates to this episode?
Yes,
There's one
I
more
did.
thing I know for sure, but go ahead.
Yes. There's the valleys in between everybody personally.
Very
Um,
good.
the valley between Joel and Ellie, and the valley between Joel and Abby, and um, that's and even between them and the people back in
Jackson.
Jackson Hole.
Okay. There is the one obvious thing is the song Through the Valley that Ashley Johnson does a sort of cameo in this episode. Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie Williams in the game, actually sung the song in the show at the end, which I thought was a really cool way of applying a salve to the people who really felt that scene. What did you guys think of that though? How did that feel to hear that song come on? Karina, was that in? Of course, that wasn't in the video game right after that scene, was it?
no, it was not.
Okay.
So they added that for the show, but I immediately recognized her voice because Ellie sings quite a lot in part 2. So, I recognized that it was her, but I did not recognize the song specifically. I don't think that was in there.
She does sing that. It was motion capped, so it was in the game at some point. I
Was
guess.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It wasn't.
Yeah. I don't know where. I don't know where it was in the game. I don't.
I
If
would
it's in
have
part
to.
2, I don't remember at all. But
I'm still playing through it. So again, because it's been over a year since the last time I played, I haven't gotten to. I played all of Ellie's parts, but I haven't gotten to the epilogue, which could be where it was. But I'll have to update and say yes, it was here, or no, I never found it.
Cool. I mean,
I actually
it's a
I
welcome
sent the
thing.
motion cap. I found a motion cap video of it today, and I sent it to Dave.
Hmm.
So that's the only reason I knew. that
Appreciate
was in
it.
the game.
Which is one of the things you wanted me to repost on TikTok. Is that it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Just repost the things I sent you. That's
Poor Daddy Pascal. Okay, so that's Through the Valley. Any other Through the Valleys?
yes.
Cool.
Yes.
I love
Okay.
it.
So when we're referring to a valley as like, we talked about like, oh, people are in an emotional valley. There's valleys between people. Specifically, the title is saying through the valley. This is preemptive of something that has not happened yet, but will happen as stories move on.
You're saying an event?
No, just Ellie will have to move. Well, I mean, you can kind of guess what's going to happen from here, but Ellie is going to move forward in life. And so Through the Valley will be her journey through this valley of mourning for Joel and seeking vengeance, we can guess. And as she states.
It's a good guess. It's a good guess.
And so essentially the rest of this story really is her time through this valley which is just kind of weird because it is literally just a tale of seeking vengeance over and over and over again. Like, this person killed somebody to save somebody, and now I'm going to kill them in vengeance for the person that I loved, and now the person that loves them is going to seek vengeance against me. It's like, it's so convoluted and crazy, but it is how these kind of storylines work when you're talking about like the apocalypse and the end of the world and man versus man instead of man versus nature, which is really what it should be about, but man versus man is
Always.
more interesting.
Oh, it sounds familiar.
Often more interesting. Yeah. Oh, how weird. This is like 90% of the stuff that we
What a repeating theme.
But anyway, I lost my train of thought now. So there we go.
The valley that Ellie will
Yeah.
undoubtedly have to
Yeah.
go through.
Yes, correct.
Because this basically you're subbing valley for cycle, right? Just maintaining the cycle of violence, I guess. Is that what you mean?
I mean, sure, you can say that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like a valley is a rough time in your life, almost
Okay.
undoubtedly.
Like a
That's
dip.
what that refers to. Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is a
The
time
lowest
of
point.
mourning and loss and sadness for Ellie, and this will be rough. It's not going to be easy. And so this is the valley of this moment. I you know, when we take a look at the first season into this season, a lot of time has passed. Ellie's life hasn't been that hard for a while. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard as in like it's hard day to day. You live in an apocalypse. But for the most part, you're living pretty cushy in comparison to like what you could be dealing with.
This
You
goes
live in
to
a community with walls. It's safe. There's other people who
Not
have your
anymore.
back. Well, not anymore, but you know.
Which is another valley because Jackson Hole is in a valley and the
Sure.
mushroom monsters ran through it.
I love how that's sticking around mushroom monsters. But yes, this goes to basically what Sharon was saying too. What you're saying, Bridget, is it kind of goes hand in hand with Ellie's recklessness. We said it was referring to what perhaps she knows that Joel did, but really, a lot of that maybe even has to do with how good things are for her throughout the last 5 years. She's got to have a slice of life. And so she was allowed to mouth off at every single person in history. And
Well, it's just like
also
that's
living.
the peak, right? That is her peak. Like, was it still hard? Yeah, peaks aren't perfect.
Peaks and valleys.
Nobody's life is perfect. But that's the peak for her, is that she was in a safe community. There were people that she connected with. She had friends. She has a job. She has things that like personal responsibility. She has family. Um, and those are things that I think she thought she would never have.
A steak sandwich in this episode?
Yes. You know, of course it's not perfect. There's things that happen that upset her. She's fighting with Joel. You know, Seth is a D-bag.
But
Things
these like
happen.
normal things in normal life.
Things happen, but these are like normal. But that's like the peak is like when your life is overwhelmingly like pretty good, and now we're gonna be rolling through Valley, and
I'm gonna,
so
like-
that'll be the majority of the rest of the story.
Finding a big building full of weed was a pretty good peak too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
Edgar.
Said nobody in a
Edgar's
while.
the man.
In 20 years.
Eugene. I'm sorry,
Eugene, that's right. Eugene
Eugene's the man.
Linden, right?
Eugene's grow house. Yeah.
Gail's husband, essentially, which I'm glad we
Yes.
keep going back and forth. We're going back to that because I do want to talk more
Yeah.
about that. Okay, so Peaks and Valley, we're done with Through the Valley. Karina, let's go back to that scene. Let's talk about the
Okay, okay.
differences in that scene between the show and the game.
Can I just, as an aside, just say something in general about the scene and about the death? Okay. I have been able to sit with this for, since 2020 when I had the game. So I've had, 5 years to let it absorb,
To process the
to
grief.
let it simmer. I understand how everyone feels about it because I felt that way also. What I really need everyone to understand is Joel is not out of the story. Joel will be back. If you love Joel, Pedro Pascal, Joel, they're coming back. Unfortunately, to burst your bubble, he is dead. He's not coming back. I know you're in denial, Rachel, but he's gone. And I need everybody, and just reiterate what we said last week, I need everybody to separate the characters from the actors.
Oh,
because this was a major thing when the game released, that Laura Bailey, who voiced Abby, got death threats. Her children got death threats. It's unacceptable. You can't do that. Please do not do that to this actress.
Pause, because
Yeah.
I have been seeing overwhelmingly, for some reason, so much, what is the word? Standing of Caitlin Dever and Abby, like just back and forth. People
Yeah.
really dig
They
Abby.
like the character.
For
Okay.
Not for some reason, but like I get it.
I have seen literally the opposite, Dave.
I've seen both, but I've seen
the
some
opposite.
surprising
There was a lot of negativity with the casting choice.
thirsting for Abby. Sorry, that's
which I think is really stupid, and we talked about this last week. Like, I think it's dumb that you would be like, they take liberties with
What are you,
characters
dumb?
in everything.
Sorry.
They take liberties with characters in everything. Like, Pedro Pascal doesn't look like Joel. Okay, like I'm sorry, but this is just the way it is. Like,
Jeffrey D.
you
Morgan
find
doesn't
him-
look like Negan. Ugh.
Exactly, right? We talked
Yeah.
about Danny Trejo versus
David
what is his
Morrissey.
name? David Morrissey. Thank you so much. Right, we talked about that already. I've seen a lot of stuff about Caitlin. Is it Dever or Dever? Dever online about how like she's not well suited for this part. She's not big enough or whatever. And it's like, okay, that is like the dumbest, smallest thing about this. I feel like
Yeah, we
She
talked
can
about it a little
still-
bit in the first episode.
She can still play that character. I know we did, but it's like it's still happening. I'm just
And
baffled by
because
it.
of this, I
Yeah.
get it. I get why we
Oh
want
yeah,
to readdress
and
this.
now that we're bringing it up, it's like I understand it's different,
Now
and
that
I
we're
understand
here.
that maybe it's not what you pictured in your head, but she didn't write this scene. She didn't write this dialogue. She didn't even. I mean, she tried out for the part, but she didn't choose to cast herself. Like these are
Sure.
things that other people did.
Casting
Other
director.
people decided.
Mhm.
And so if you're gonna have like anger about any of this, just I guess direct it at the right people. Like it's okay
Yeah,
to be
I
mad
agree,
about it,
yeah.
but just direct it
Yeah.
at the right people then.
Or maybe just here's what I think. Given the fact, if you don't mind, given the fact that this role is tough to cast, let's give it to
For
the end of
sure.
the season, and then we maybe make up our minds. Maybe she does something, in your opinion, that somewhat reclaims what you thought could ever possibly match up to the game. And maybe we can fall somewhere in the middle, because the problem that I have with the noisiest voices on the internet is there's no modulation. It's either this is terrible, or this she's great. I want to have her babies, says another female person. I don't know how that works biologically, but that's okay. We'll have in vitro.
So I'm gonna speak up on the side of the people who have a problem with casting. I'm not talking about her because I didn't play the game, so her casting doesn't matter. But at least in this part, but I know how they feel because when they cast Sophie Skelton in the part of Brianna in Outlander, she is like just the worst. She just doesn't fit the part. She just does not fit the part at all. And it really
said this
ruined
last
my
time.
enjoyment of the show. Um,
You did. You
I mean,
said. Sorry.
it ruined my enjoyment of the show because she just does not fit the part. So I understand
Yeah. Yeah. I get
what
it.
they're coming from. Now, again, don't direct it at the actor, right? It's
No,
not
no.
their fault. But I do understand that people get upset because in the books they're very specific about her look. I mean, it is very specifically described, and it has a lot to do with the story. So when they change it, it changes a lot of the story too.
Well, and I can understand feeling really passionate about that specifically in books, right? But like we're talking like this has already been visually created in a
Mhm.
video game. Like
Yeah.
did you want just the same exact story exactly the same way delivered
point.
to you on a silver platter again? Because if
Apparently.
that's the case, just go watch a gameplay of it
Yeah.
and you can have what you want.
It's
because it
fun.
already exists.
I do it sometimes.
So like I just
Yeah.
I don't really understand. Yeah, I don't really understand. Anyway,
No, you
Caitlin Deaver
do
is- I
understand,
think
but
she's
it's like you're also a person who loves movies and TV, and you have
Well,
that
it's just
brain
like,
too.
It just is how it is. It's
Right.
just-
I mean, I still
Yeah.
watch
It just is how it
Outlander.
is.
I mean, I still watch the show. It just detracts from my enjoyment of it.
It takes
because
you out, yeah.
it takes me out of the show because I'm like, she's nothing like she's supposed to be. And again, the way changing her looks changed the story, the way the story went. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that will happen in this in particular. Like if the way she looks changes the actions of the show, but.
I mean,
Um,
you're not participating in the gameplay mechanic, so I don't know.
Right, but I
Which
mean,
is what Korea
I
said last
still
week.
watch the show. It didn't stop me from watching it. It's just something I think about every time she comes on the screen. I'm like, ugh.
That's really the only thing I can think of. Karina is like the gameplay
Mhm.
mechanic is
Which
Well,
is
you
what we
know,
talked about last week. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
certainly a lot of moments, and I mean, I sent y'all a video of Abby just absolutely wrecking
right.
a horde.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's how she plays. She
plays like
can
Joel.
she can bare fist knock out an infected. Like that's how
cool,
her character
actually.
plays. I mean, she's amazing, and that's the other part I was going to get to is like, please also, as much as you may hate the character right now, please watch it through and give her a chance, because even I did not like her my first playthrough of the game. I was very upset about what
Abby
happened
the
to Joel.
character.
Yeah, the character. I was very upset about what happened to Joel, and I was not ready to accept wanting her in the game or having to play as her or seeing her point of view or any of it.
And the game's like, you
And-
play her now.
Yeah, you have to play as her for a large chunk of it, and you start to see she's a real person. She has real motives. Her point of view is valid, and she's actually a pretty cool character. Like, I really like her personality. She's kind of a little abrasive. She likes to
Sounds
poke
familiar.
fun at people by, she joke around and poke fun at people. Owen especially. and she's a really likable character once you get to see that. So right now all we can see is what she did to our favorite character, so
You know
I
what, you're
understand.
and this is like a perfect mirror for whom you may be describing. If had you not said the name Abby, you could easily say the same thing about.
Negan.
You read
Yep.
my mind. Yep.
Yes, I was
Yeah,
thinking
there's-
about it all day.
Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia. Yeah,
I don't know what
from,
you're talking about. No, I'm kidding. Instant love. It's head over heels. We're soulmates. Two things. Bridget. Two things. Bridget, read the chat because there's some cool stuff in
Okay.
there. I don't want
Yeah,
it to
of
fly
course.
by, and then we'll see. We'll figure it out.
Okay, so Francisco said, loved hearing Ashley sing the song again. It's the song Ellie plays in part 2. So it is in part 2.
Theory
Which
confirmed.
makes sense. Which makes sense because I did not remember it. So I was like, I
I'm
don't
losing
think
my
this is
expert
one
status.
that I played.
This is why we are Squawking
Boom,
Dead.
boom, boom, boom. She's downgraded.
She's like Mario hitting an enemy. Bloop, bloop,
Yeah,
bloop.
like
Just to get a mushroom again. Mushroom.
How did Pedro Pascal say it in an interview? I'm in active denial, quote unquote. Is
yeah.
what he stated
denial.
apparently. We have a new person in the chat. I'm gonna call you Ayers because I don't.
Oh, we've had him
know-
on before. That's right.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So hi,
Oh.
welcome. Glad
Hi.
you're here. It was in the trailer for the game with Joel's ghost. So I'm guessing that's a reference to the song.
Oh, the game. Yes, that's right. That's right.
I would assume that's what that's in reference to. If it's not, please tell me and I'll correct myself.
Oh no, Bridget. Oh. I was gonna say you were
Francisco
frozen for a
goes on
second.
to say me.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. Francisco goes on to say the first game wasn't really about seeking vengeance, was more about Ellie being immune and finding the cure. And in part 2, it was more the revenge part. I do agree she looks more like Ellie than Abby.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in reference to Caitlin
Teaver,
Devers.
yeah.
And probably acts better than her, but that's my opinion. I don't agree with the death threats in both medias, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people dislike Ellie because of the actress as very weak acting for Ellie, who seemed to have a stronger personality. I am fine with Bella Ramsey as Ellie. I think she does a fine job. I think she's pretty great. I think she's a pretty good actress. I mean, we haven't seen her in a ton of stuff, but she was in Game of Thrones and she was excellent in that, and she was even younger. I think she did phenomenally in season 1, and season 2 has been great. And sometimes I forget that she's British.
Yeah.
I do not forget.
Okay,
She
I
was
don't-
also
I
in a
think her
movie
Am-
called Birdie. I just watched the other day.
Oh,
She was
okay.
really good in that. Yeah.
I think her American accent to me is more convincing than a lot of other actors.
Because she's got kind of that mumbly thing that most teens have now, where they can't just.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm like fine
enunciate.
with it.
It's,
I'm fine
it
with it.
works. It works in her favor. Can I say one more thing before we move on? I saw,
Yeah.
and I don't know how I didn't think to put Bella Ramsey against Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie, who voiced the role of Ellie in the games.
Yeah.
And what I liked about that is, like, acting aside, you can have your opinion. It's fine. But you're still watching. Hey, hooray, you're here. But putting those two together, it's like Ashley Johnson. It's like Ashley Johnson is actually Ellie's mother. In true to form, she was in the show. So
Yes.
there is a somewhat resemblance to one another.
Yeah.
So it actually helped. Actually,
If you
Further.
go back and look at Ashley Johnson when she was really young, she was on Roseanne, on the last season of Roseanne.
Yeah, she was.
She was in a couple of movies. I want to say the one with oh my gosh, Hugh Grant and Julianne Moore, where she's pregnant. I can't remember the name of it.
which one?
9 months or something like that. She was in that. So she actually does look, and when she was really young, she actually does look a little bit like Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, the same
Yeah.
face shape.
Yeah, they
generally.
have a similar facial
Outline.
structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
I know that, and Francisco brings this up, which is just the one last thing I'm going to say before we can move on. But he said they also had cosplayers and other actresses who look a lot like Ellie. I have
sure.
also seen a lot of that recently online. Is like a lot of hate towards Bella Ramsey in regard to the fact that Kaylee Spaney or something like that was right there. That's what I've been constantly seeing. I just want to say, like, look
Kick
again,
rocks?
director, yeah, kick rocks.
Kick rocks.
Director direct your disagreement to the right people.
Mhm.
1, 2, screaming it at your lawn isn't doing anything. So like,
Yeah, that's
we're
Sharon's
already
job.
into season 2. Okay, we're already into season 2. Like, what did you expect a recast? I'm sorry. Let me
Some
look you in
people.
the eye. Let me look you in the eye. Did you expect a recast? You're an idiot.
I mean,
I'm just
I
gonna say. I'm
actually,
just gonna say.
I
you're an
actually
idiot.
did see people saying that they should recast it last year when they were
That's so stupid.
still.
That's so
Yeah,
stupid.
Yeah,
I
like
was
in the
like,
first
why?
episode. Anyway.
Okay, we're already in it. We're already in it. I'm sorry. What's done is done, and you can't do anything to change
Hey,
it. And
Samantha.
you know
from
what? You have a
Facebook.
lot more peace in your life if you just realize that you don't have control over certain things. And
Yeah.
if they already happen, you should just move on.
Well, just see if you can get past it. That's all. Give people a
Well,
chance.
I have a lot of peace in my life because I go, well, it already happened. I can't do anything about it now.
Yeah, it's a fictional television show that you have no stake in.
See what happened.
100%.
What happened is the internet bullied the makers of Sonic into
They
changing the
did.
look of Sonic, so they
Now,
think
to
they
be
can do that
fair,
now.
I see.
to be fair,
That needed to
good-
happen, but
good call.
yeah.
good call. I'm with you
No,
on that.
for
I'm with you
sure.
100%. It looked so bad. It looked so bad,
Oh.
and you were right to bully them mercilessly.
No,
And
yeah.
it worked, and thank you. I appreciate your commitment
this-
to bullying.
We have a moral
Please go
quandary
away.
now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
By the way,
I mean,
I should
bullying
mention
the
that's how
look
Star
of
Trek.
an inanimate, not real creature is a
Yes,
little bit
exactly.
different
Yeah,
than
yeah.
bullying an actual
Yes.
person
Like
Sure.
a
that
girl,
looks
yeah.
the way
That has
they do.
no stake
Yes.
in the show. It's
Yeah.
it's the same thing
Please
that
don't bully real people.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the same thing they did for Star Trek. Star Trek remained on the air because the fans, and then we find out later on that Roddenberry himself was just going out and asking people to have the show remain on. It was a very interesting campaign, but it was they were bullying the execs to keep the show on, and
That's also what happened
It
to
worked
Jericho, because they were going to cancel Jericho, and there was a line in the show about nuts, like peanuts, and so fans started sending CBS bags of peanuts to get them to bring Jericho back, and they did. They brought Jericho back for another season.
Like
Then they
the-
canceled it.
The head person had an anaphylactic reaction to the bags of peanuts. I'm
These
just
are
kidding. I made
death
that up.
threats.
That's not real. I made that up. That I don't
expert
know if that
knowledge.
happened
Punky Brewster has expert knowledge.
or not. Francisco did say that they could recast her for a prequel movie if that were to ever happen, which would be fine. But like, I don't know. What else is there to tell with this story? Like, that is how I feel about it. But I've heard there's more now to the story is being worked on. So
Yeah, season 3 is already in the works. It's the same.
no, not
What?
this season.
What do you mean?
No.
Okay, that's
Another
fine.
game.
Another.
Yeah, another game.
This is
Potentially.
you guys.
Potentially.
When we talked about this last 2 years
In
ago,
this game, you get to be the mushroom.
Yeah. 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 I
You mean
like
the
that.
network?
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't hate that.
Yeah, actually, that would be kind of
pretty
cool. Like, I was like, yeah, and then I was like,
fun.
wait,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
that actually sounds great.
That sounds really cool.
it's a mobile game.
Oh, okay.
No, no. Take
Why
it away.
not?
Take it away.
Because like
No,
once
no,
you
no,
die,
no,
you
no.
just pop into another node.
No.
in
No,
the
no.
mycelial
no.
network.
No.
Let's
'cause then
move
all of a
on,
sudden there's
everybody.
all these ads.
Listen,
Dave.
I like to
Like, as
ruin
soon as
things
it's
so we can
mobile, it's
move
ads.
on. Yeah, ads are like the mycelial network. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it's like the
Watch this
Okay.
ad for more spores.
It's ironic, actually.
Okay.
It's ironic.
So, shall we go back to the thing that I
Yes,
was going to
please.
talk
To
about?
the actual
originally?
show that we were
Yes,
trying to
please.
actually do. It's so
Yes,
funny
yes.
how that's.
Okay,
I'm
so-
sorry, I went off on a very long tangent.
It's
I
okay. I did start the tangent, so it's fine. It's fine.
This is the show. People.
So yeah, we were asking what are the differences in that scene from the game. Largely, it is unchanged, except that, of course, it was Tommy and Joel who got captured by Abby's people rather than Dina and Joel, so that was a change. Ellie still bursts in the same way. We do see a lot more of what Abby is doing to Joel, so it, in a way, the show is more difficult to watch because we linger on that, the horror of that, a lot longer. And then they removed 2 characters from Abby's group. So
Oh.
when
I thought
Manny
they
gets
already
his-
had a lot.
yeah, they have. Yeah, so there were 2 other characters, another guy and a girl, his girlfriend. I can't think of their names right now. It doesn't matter. They're not
See?
in the show. So
Didn't
what
matter.
happened was they had Manny take on the role of what happened to that character. So that character's face gets cut by Ellie, that happened to another character. So we've kind of combined the two of them together at that point. To be fair, whatever happens to those two characters later on in the series, it's not that important.
Forget about it. It's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Don't worry about
it.
it.
Doesn't matter. They're not that important. The other characters that were there are very important. So I can see why they sort of omitted those two just for streamlining purposes. So that was the difference there. The storm is a thing that's happening. They definitely play up the fact that it's very, very cold outside, which is sort of there in the game, but it's not like there's no like environmental hazard or anything like that, at least as far as I know. I don't play on grounded mode, so that could be a thing in grounded. I have no idea.
Oh, why don't you say what that is, though? What is grounded mode?
So grounded is the most difficult, the highest difficulty level. So you have way less supplies. Everything hurts you more, obviously. You have less health. Enemies are harder to kill, that kind of thing.
I have zero interest in that.
I get
No,
it.
me neither. Yeah, I don't
Because
either.
it imitates real life more accurately,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's cool.
In the same way that, Fallout has a difficulty setting where, you can have bullets weigh something, and that's makes a huge difference. This becomes difficult because you don't have supplies to craft weapons. You don't have bullets. You have to rely on really good strategy.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have to rely on really good strategy to get through. And
I see.
the game is not easy by any stretch. I'm playing it on normal difficulty and I'm getting my butt kicked. I'm like, and I've played this before. So,
Put this
so
down.
I'm getting frustrated.
Can I just say,
So, yeah.
it's such a stark difference between, because I've played games, the difference in terminology, how in games it's like insane mode or something to that effect, and yet
Yeah.
the same level of difficulty is called grounded mode. It's the exact
yeah.
opposite in term use, which I think is cool.
Well, I like that, every game has its own version of telling
True.
you what's easy and what's hard, or what's normal.
Extreme mode.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this mode?
Why do you hate yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself mode?
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
it's interesting. You speaking about cold, though, you do get a look at the thermometer for a brief moment, and it is at 0 or below 0 Fahrenheit too.
I think it's negative, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's negative. And then the other biggest difference in the scene is the motivation for Joel and Dina to get back to Jackson isn't just the storm. There's quite a lot happening in Jackson, which does not happen in the game. So
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Totally new for the show, and might I say, what an epic addition. My goodness.
That was pretty awesome.
By the way, the sole reason why there wasn't so much in my notes, I literally, as I was taking notes, I was like, skip. It's cool to watch and experience, but I'm like, how much of this do I specifically want to talk about? I know you guys will go gaga about several different things from that moment, but I was like,
yes.
Well, yeah.
There
There's
are
one-
things to mention.
Yes, I was gonna say. So there's the scene with Tommy and the bloater,
Yeah, the bloater.
and
The
he gets into
flamethrower.
that corner. He gets into like that little alley, and it's all blocked off. I thought while I was watching it, I was like, "Is this in the game? Like ripped from the
No.
game?" Because that was such a game scene.
right, it looked
The,
like
like
it did.
turning around and seeing
Yeah.
you can't go any other direction.
Yes.
My
with
thought
due to
was
these
like,
like
don't you?
random obstacles.
My thought was like, don't you live in this town and know this is a blind alley? Like,
Well, they had stuff blocked
they
off.
barricaded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they barricaded
Yeah.
the town. Yeah.
I at the beginning of the episode, I really thought Tommy was gonna die. Like, I was like, it was, sometimes you can just tell the way they frame a shot or something. You're like, oh, that dude's dead. So I thought
There
it
are
was gonna be
tells
Tommy.
too, though, if you think about it, because
And-
he
and
says
then-
himself, if you're in the street,
Yeah, and then he's running
Right.
down the street. Yeah.
and then he goes in the
And
street.
then I was like, oh, they're gonna flip it around and it's gonna be his wife that's gonna get killed, not him. Like
Right.
that, they're gonna pull the rug out from under us. And then it was Joel. So
Yeah.
they totally threw everybody off.
different, Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't surprising to me,
Well,
but
I will say that is actually pretty cool that you thought that, because if you think about it, for the people who play the games, you're like, oh, but are they going to do this? And then it's kind of like what I was saying about in the 7th episode of Dark Winds, how maybe in my first watch, I'm like, who is this hooded character? It could be Gordo Senna. We find out later on it isn't, but obviously when a show can get you to doubt what you originally thought it how things are going to go. I think it's pretty cool that you can that you even have it in your head to think, oh, is he going to die? Wait, what?
There was a
I love
moment
that.
when I was not sure about Tommy's outcome because, like I said, that whole situation does not happen in the game. I was like, this could be going a route. Would be completely shocked if he would have got killed by that bloater.
Especially
So,
given the end scene, or not the end scene, but the scene. You know, the scene where
Yeah.
where he was supposed to be there and he is not.
yeah.
So-
and that was the other difference in the scene. Let me just backtrack for a second.
I was trying to
Tommy
get you
was
there.
there. Yeah, sorry.
No,
Tommy was there instead of Dina, and in the show they very kindly just knocked Dina out with a little injection. That's very, very safe and very monitored. No, they just smash Tommy's face against a dresser and in the game, and they just knock him out. And then, of course, when Ellie gets there, the scene plays out very much the same. They hold her to the ground. They're a lot more violent in the way that they dispatch her, though. Like they kick her a lot, and they actually kick her in the face to knock her out
I had a feeling,
afterwards.
yeah.
So the ending is that scene ends with her sort of groggily waking up because Dina came and found her and Joel along with Jesse, because Jesse was helping to look as well.
So it steered
And,
right back to the game in this
Yes.
show. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So they kind of made a point of making Abby's crew a lot kinder to everybody except for Joel.
Okay.
And that's important.
I
for
really
later.
want to talk about this.
Even
Go.
even the people with her, like they were not totally on board with what she was doing.
There are
Yes,
archetypes.
And that's from the game as well. Abby is very much more driven to this goal than the rest of them are, and much more willing to do whatever it takes to get what she wants. And the rest of her crew is sort of like constantly trying to rein her in. So
They showed that
yeah.
reluctancy from the very beginning too, with that
Mhm.
additional scene, which I'm sure that's what they were really trying. That scene that wasn't in the game where you're seeing the Firefly stand over the grave.
Yes.
I think that's, now we know that's trying to sell this reluctancy of the rest of the group.
Mhm.
They are like not as on board with this. They understand they lost people. It's sad, but they don't want to just chase after this guy that they know nothing about.
Well, especially after they see the town and how it's not like a tent
Yeah.
village. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are not Joel's people. It can't be. This is too big a community to be Joel's people to
a
justify
city.
killing everybody. Yeah. I really want to hang on the scene because I really feel like I think maybe all of us are on the same page. We'll see. But I think I know why the scene played out with the people that were in it the way it did too. Because I'm just going to lay it out if you don't mind. What's great about, and maybe you can comment on this, Karina. What's great about how this episode starts is Abby is in her dream, faced with having to, probably recurring dream, faced with having to go back and relive the moment where she saw her father, it's Gerald Jerry Anderson, her father, die, or the aftermath of his death. And then you see us, and then in that same dream, I don't know if this is the first time this happened. We can make our guesses, but in the dream, she is telling herself not to go into that door. There's a lot you can say about that, and maybe we'll go back to that. But more importantly, that scene is important. That scene informs you on what's about to happen next. Let me ask you a question. All of you. Well, first of all, actually, Karina, is that scene in the games?
Not specifically, but she does have a recurring nightmare of running down the hallway and entering that room to find her father dead. So it's pulled from things that happen in the game, but that specifically the way that plays out, no.
With the other her, right?
Yes, correct.
That's not in the game.
No.
Okay, good.
There are multiple times that you have that scene where she's, like I said, it's a recurring nightmare that she has all the time. And, it gets revisited a lot. And it changes slightly. But the scene with her speaking to herself, that does not happen.
Okay, I'm glad. Well, because that'll inform my insight into why this scene played out the way that it did. I think when Joel is with Dina, maybe we're on the same page. Abby assumes that Dina is his daughter. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Not only because of the dream, and her telling herself, "You don't want to see that." If I was there, I'd probably still tell myself not to see that because you don't want to be remembered that way, right? You don't want to remember your father that way. Maybe this whole thing would have shaken out a little differently had I just heard it from a distance or somebody taken out the body, but there was no other somebodies. Maybe there were, but they weren't there for some reason. The other bit of evidence is, well, first of all, the drama between Joel and Ellie, there's that. But then there's what happens when Dina visits Joel in the first episode and how she feels like more of a daughter than Ellie is. He says it to Gail in the therapy session. So when the scene plays out, Abby is basically quietly putting his daughter, according to Abby, to sleep so that she would be spared. In her mind, she's giving his daughter the mercy, or assuming this is her daughter. She's assuming this is his daughter.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm better than you. I'm at least going to spare your daughter seeing your dead body, etc., being torn apart. Not like you, who looked away as he was shooting Jerry, my father.
Barely looked at him.
Barely looked at him.
It's interesting, but I'm not interested, Dave, is what I'm going to say to what you just said.
Wait, no,
Wow.
there's a reason why I think this is important, though. Because because she thought she was the better person for doing that. But when Ellie busts in, she's like, who's this bitch?
She inadvertently does exactly the same thing to Ellie that Joel did to her.
Exactly.
I was going to say,
They're
it
the
almost
same
feels...
age. Yeah.
It almost feels intentional. Like, she wasn't planning on receiving Ellie there or anything. But one, she hears Dina call Joel. That doesn't really mean anything because Ellie calls Joel also. But I'm just saying, I don't know that she thinks that that's his daughter.
I don't think she's thinking much at all. Because she's
not.
This is
She's
Christmas for her.
She's thinking about her soliloquy that she has to deliver, okay?
Exactly. Okay.
She's thinking about all the bad guy villain stuff that she has to say. I got to lay out my whole plan.
Wait,
I
Rachel
love
is...
you guys, but it's my bedtime. I gotta...
Oh, yes.
Oh.
All right, everybody.
We miss you already.
We do. See, I'm
Love
really
you,
like
Rachel.
sad. I'm
Good
sad.
night.
Why are you going? I'm so sad now.
Because it's my bedtime.
Go get some rest.
Oh.
Love you.
Falling
Talk to you
asleep.
later.
I
I'll have to
guess.
write down and send in what I want to say next time.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
See.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Okay. There. Who was talking at that moment? Was it me?
Me.
Okay. But you don't remember what you were saying.
No. That really threw a wrench. Okay,
Well, I was going to continue with the thought, but
go ahead.
okay, because there's one more thing, and that is, given the fact that I think she was thinking I'm the better. She says one more thing. She says, the people I was with have a code. The commander has a code that we all follow.
Yeah.
And that was, you don't kill a defenseless person. Let me actually say the thing, because I wrote it. Obviously, I wrote it down. And she says, we don't kill people.
Just shut up and get it over with already. This is how I
That's what
feel.
Joel says, yeah. To me, but you're saying it to me.
This is how I feel about it.
We don't kill people that can't defend themselves. And then she continues, there are just some things everyone agrees they're just effing wrong. And I kept saying that in my notes as it goes down, because immediately she goes to the golf clubs, a leisurely sport for a leisurely torture, which most people agree is wrong. I'm not saying this is stupid. I'm just saying it's clever in a narrative sense, obviously.
Right.
But it just shows how far it's been 5 years. She's been obsessing over this for 5 years. She doesn't understand the irony of some people, some things are just so wrong. And the people around her are like watching her do it. And half of them are like, this is starting to feel like not our code at all. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be willing to accept this as like unintentional irony.
A nine irony?
I just don't.
I hated myself. I know.
I hate you. I'm blowing right past it. I don't want to acknowledge it.
As long as Frida loves it,
I don't think that it was done intentionally. I don't think she's like thinking that she's better because she's putting her under whatever. I don't see that.
Have you been
Or
on
I don't
social
agree.
media and what the things that people do to other people when they think they're right about something?
Yeah, sure, I've
you
seen
can
that.
visualize that. So
I've seen that. I'm
sorry to cut you off. Just like,
wouldn't.
what?
Well, I'll accept this as like unintentional irony. That's what I will.
Well, when you're
accept
in it, you don't really see what you're doing until somebody
Well, I
points
just-
it out to you. Like,
I
maybe
don't
this
think
is
she.
wrong.
Yeah, I think she's like she's just doing her bad guy speech.
This
Okay,
is
Well,
she's doing her bad
I
guy
mean,
speech.
most people don't realize
Sharon,
when
there's
they're
a bit of
being
a buzzing. Sorry,
hypocrites.
I don't know if that's
Oh, I think I might have been touching my phone. I'm
and
sorry.
well, that's even more.
Okay.
Okay.
She moved her phone.
I moved it because like literally my pinky was touching it.
I'm so
Um,
sorry.
Most people don't realize when they're being hypocritical about something
Yeah,
because most people don't see themselves from, like you guys were saying, the other people looking are like,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah,
doing? They don't see
Yeah.
themselves from the outside.
Mhm.
So
it's like people who go, "We're inclusive. We believe in diversity, but not you, not or you. You, I don't like you. You, not that. This is you can go, can kick rocks, as Bridget would say.
Kick rocks.
Thought meant everybody. What is happening?
Yeah, I think she's so excited to finally live out this dream that she's had. Because I mean, Dave, she was so clever. She literally fell into this situation and was able to rope him back to her where her group is, which is ridiculous. And
She was
just the
extremely
worst turn of luck.
lucky, not clever.
Yeah, it's the worst turn. Oh, I was being facetious.
Oh, okay.
It's the worst turn of luck for Joel. Honestly,
Yeah.
like it was crazy, but she's so giddy and excited and overwhelmed. You can kind of see it on her face as they're like riding the horse's back. She's like, yes, I've got him.
And
I've
he's
got him.
handsome.
And I did it all on my own. And it's like, not
But
really.
yeah,
Everything fell into your lap, but it's fine.
and she never bothered to make sure like there might be other people out there named Joel who are middle aged.
Well, that's why
Well,
she
you
does the little
know?
checklist
Yeah.
where she's like, you've got the
Yeah.
scar on your temple. You're about 6 foot. You are handsome.
Where were you? Where was the last time you saw the
Yeah, she did.
fireflies? That
She
kind
did
of
ask him. Yeah.
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 And I think I know, and I'll agree that there is that bit of a moral compass in making sure that she's asking the right questions to make sure that what she's about to do, because once she starts doing it, she will not stop. That she does make sure that this is most definitely this guy.
Well, that's the thing. Her father didn't suffer intensely.
It
Joel
was
came
over in
in.
a second.
At
yeah.
all.
Yeah, it was over.
Yeah.
This is anger. This is her anger getting the best of her.
yeah.
And I think the people that are with her are probably like, dude,
Yeah.
this isn't how this was supposed to go. You're just supposed to get this over with, and we're
Some of
supposed to
them.
leave.
Some
Yeah.
of them. No, she
Well-
had said slowly in that first episode when they were burying.
I know, but
Not
I think
only that,
probably
Well, you
they
say
figured
that, and then
5
years
years
later, yeah.
past, you know.
Mhm.
Right. You're using you're using all of our energies and resources on revenge
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is a good
instead
question.
of living a life.
Why do you think that is? Why does everybody go along with her? Especially if after they've gone to Seattle to the WLF, which we'll get into, Karina, which we don't know anything about technically. But why do you think that is? Why do they go along for the ride? And I know Karina will have a bit more of an
Do-
answer,
I mean,
but
perhaps something in their past has made them all beholden to her, like she saved everybody's life or something like that. And that's why they're so like, we'll do whatever you want, like maybe it's something like, I don't know, I haven't played the game, so I'm just guessing.
maybe this is just a question we have to hold in our mind as we move forward, because it is a stretch. And maybe as a result of this event occurring, well, who knows if Abby's even done? Two, if she's not done, these people are going to be like, hey, wait. We originally came out here to get Joel, and now we're doing something else. Or can we go do our thing? Can we build humanity like we used to? I think this could be interesting moving forward, despite anything she may have done in the past, which they may or may not show us.
I so want to say things.
I know you do.
know.
I know you do, Karina.
But you're being
I
judicious.
was gonna say, without
We should go back to
spoiling
the chat, by
anything.
the way. But go ahead.
Yes, without spoiling anything, I will say that you just have to look at any other kind of post-apocalyptic IP to really get more information for this scene. Like, in what situation do people follow someone, go along with their crazy harebrained schemes? It's usually because they owe them a debt of life in some way. That's typically how it is, or there's a love there, whether it be romantic or familial. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there. Like, just keep those things in mind as the story progresses forward, because that's most likely why someone would go along with something super crazy.
And Let me add one more thing that is more of a obviously, but not obviously because for us it's not been that long. It's 25 years into the apocalypse, and most, if not almost all of these people were born after the apocalypse. And so we're sitting here trying to figure out, oh, why are they doing this? Can't they just go home, watch TV, and eat potato chips and just throw it behind their shoulder? Well, no. First of all, they grew up in with the Fireflies, and that's going to become more important as we talk about Eugene, obviously. As a side note, sorry. But then, if that's all you know, and it's all about bringing back humanity for however long it was, well, then yeah, maybe this is like mission-oriented thinking. But obviously, this is the mission. Since there is no other mission, this is the one that keeps you going, right? If you think about it, when you have a goal and a mission in mind, it allows it to go on when there's no other point in going on. So why wouldn't anybody go along for that ride if you think about it? Whatever happens next, whatever that might be. But yeah, once you.
What's sad is if they had just approached. First of all, had they just approached Jackson and said, "Hey, can we come in?" They would have been taken in and treated like, people that have a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
And also, wasn't it Abby stumbling around in the circle of mushroom monsters that woke them all up and got them going?
Yes.
So had that not happened, then they would still have that, like if she hadn't have done that, if they had all just gone to Jackson, then they would have had a safe place to stay and they would have been all right. Instead, not only did they kill Joel, but they also destroyed Sanctuary that they could have gone to.
That's actually a really interesting insight if you think about it, because I was thinking the same thing. Why don't you just, because they were talking about settlers or what is the word they use? Asylum seeker? Yeah, thank you. That's the better word, right? That's the word they used. They're talking about refugees in Jackson. And we're thinking, we go back to these people and they're like, well, I'll just bluff and I'll just capture these patrol. Like, why that's interesting is because it's like they know they're about to do a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But they're good people. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like they don't think the thing that, oh, we're actually good people. Let's pretend like we're good people. They think they're good people. But now that they're about to do a bad thing, they might as well, like, well, what would a bad person do? Well, they would just rough them up and we'll just, we'll threaten them. And it's like, it's just interesting psychologically because they're the hero of their own story according to them. Mm-hmm. But they're committing themselves to do a bad thing. So they might as well lean into the bad thing, the righteousness of it. And we're just kind of talking about that with Abby.
But they think that it's the right thing, Dave.
But they know that they have to do wrong things to correct the right thing. Right. So
it depends on your view of capital punishment, really. I mean, for them, they're saying an eye for an eye.
Well, it's like warfare.
And they believe firmly in that.
But it's like warfare. They are technically the enemy. So I'm treating you like an enemy. Even though you're really not. It wasn't the whole Fireflies thing about bringing back humanity. It's just interesting psychologically to me.
But you hear in this episode that Eugene quit because he was tired of killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it even more interesting if you think about it. But thank you for bringing that up. Let's stay here, and I'll go back to
trying to say something.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I was just going to mention and remind from the first episode, and from this one, Abby during her speech tells Joel, where he guesses that they're fireflies, and she said there are no more fireflies, and basically suggesting to him like, you killed them all in Salt Lake. So why would they follow her? Yeah, why would they follow her? Well, the Fireflies stood for something about rebuilding. They had plans to create a cure, and Joel didn't just kill her father. He killed the possibility of curing everyone. And so to them, yes, they feel very justified in what they did.
Very
this
righteous.
Person ruined everyone's lives doing what he did, even though, again, like
allegedly.
I said, it was not 100% going to happen. They were not definitely going to get a cure.
Allegedly.
What is it called when you're a defender of someone? I've done this before.
An apologist.
Yeah, you're a Joel apologist. Yeah, that's fine. I get it.
I'm not saying
Daddy
he did
Pascal.
the best. He made the best choice. I'm saying he made the best choice given the circumstances he had.
And what they were about to do.
Yeah, I don't blame him for what he did.
But
And obviously neither does Tommy or Tommy's wife.
we should take a
Maria.
step back, though, because
Yeah.
I did think about what Abby said, and he did not have to kill the doctor. I don't think so.
No. Well, okay. So I would have to rewatch that scene, but in the game, if you hesitate long enough, the doctor does attack you. So, but again, he's defending the cure for humanity. You know what I mean? So
Well, yeah, and I can explain away what he did also. Like, it's the fog of war effect. You know, you're still in that mode where everybody technically here wants to kill my quote unquote daughter, but let's just call her my daughter for
Right.
brevity. We know that he's not a real daughter. Okay, fine. Shut up to Gail. Shut up, Gail Linden. Shh. It's her
I
daughter.
think that by that point he considers her his daughter.
Yeah, but
The
not
moment he says "baby girl," that's when he
in the
officially
episode
believes
prior.
that she's the daughter. Yes.
Yeah, I get it. Let's move on. But I was just thinking, I can justify it because of the fog of war effect, and you're in that kind of jacked up mode where, you know, everybody, these people are your enemies. It's similar to what I was saying about these people, the Salt Lake contingent remainders. They're in a wartime mode. They know these are the enemies. This is mission oriented thinking. And, well, we're going to have to do bad things because they're obviously not the good guys, technically speaking. There's a binary here. And so they can't think for 1 second that they could actually approach them friendly with friendship in their heart, because that's not how they're thinking right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's read the chat, Bridget, and let's go to next. I wanted to talk about something else next, and we just flew out of my head. Maybe I'll figure it out as we talk, but go ahead.
All right. So Francisco mentions that he used to play God of War in God mode and that it was unhealthy. That's in reference to the grounded mode.
Yes.
Agreed.
He was also thinking of Walking Dead when they added that horde attack to Jackson Hole, the lake hole,
Yes.
that part of it. Heather said that she had to dip out for a minute, but she's back now, and she had no exposure to the video game at all. But
Me
that
neither.
it was a really epic scene to see the town be like overrun and attacked. Definitely thought Tommy was a goner. That's what she said. I think we all did. I think we.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh,
it was really written to come off that way.
Yeah.
Francisco says honestly, Abby talking to herself feels like a therapy situation. Same with Joel getting therapy. They want them to fix their minds before we see the complexity of them. Which fair. That's a fair assessment.
Or an attempt, yeah. You could always turn back.
Yeah. And then Heather said, my naive behind really thought she might have a change of heart because Joel saved her. Which I think we all did, or at least because Karina and I like knew how this was gonna go, like how the game, like
Maybe
how the game went, how the story was gonna go. But part of me was like, well, that part of the game was really ill received. A lot of people took really big issue with that. It was when this game came out, that was like the buzz about it was Joel died, and he dies really early in the game. And this is complete and utter BS. This is not the game that I signed up to play. I didn't pay $70 for this. You know what I mean? Like, you pay, you got to remember video games when they first come out, you got to pay a lot of money.
$70 to $80. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, everybody was really upset about this. So part of me was like, well, Pedro Pascal is like very critically well received as an actor. People really love him. People really love the character of Joel. Maybe they're going to switch this or have it happen later or, you know, or have it happen for a different reason or something, kind of to try to like throw people off. I'm thinking like similarly to Glenn's dumpster scene in The Walking Dead.
This is a lot of people are comparing it to.
That was when everyone thought for sure he was going to be like that. They had rewritten him to die then.
Well, down to him dying.
He didn't die. And so everyone's like, great, he's going to live. And then the classic lineup scene happens and he still died. So anyway, it's just, I thought it would go a different way. So there was still shock, even though I knew it was going to happen. The shock was still there that they carried through on it in the same way. I don't know if you felt that way, Karina, but I did.
I was curious because I remember saying when we started this, I'm curious to see how they handle the story. Are they going to do exactly what they did in the game? Because it was something that was so controversial when they did it. I wasn't sure. And because Pedro Pascal is very bankable, and that's, I think, a lot of the reason that many people,
We're
I know one of
surprised.
my friends is obsessed with Pedro Pascal, and I know she's devastated right now. Like, I just know it. And you know, I was also wondering, are they going to push it out, because there's a very good point at which they could have stopped that scene and pushed it at least one more episode or several more episodes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was very
When
surprised that they
Abby-
kept going.
Yeah, when Abby says, "You stupid old man, you don't get to rush this." That is straight from the game. She says that right before she starts killing him, and I thought for sure they were going to stop it there and cut to something else, and we'll find out later what happens to Joel. But they did not do that, and that's very brave.
I would say it's smarter, because had they done
Yeah.
that, it would have been extending the torture that we
Yes,
know is going
yeah.
to continue. Sharon, could you put your
Yes.
mic down just a little bit?
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
But had they not done that, listen, I was surprised too. I thought they were going to keep going. I thought they were going to, because there were so many parts where they could have ended and then resumed later, which would have been horrible. I don't think they want to do it. I think that was a better move. I was surprised. It went through it. I couldn't stop it, but getting it out of the way, kind of like the way it happens in the game, just getting it out there, out front, so we can have to sort of, like in real life, this is the point I want to make really. Like in real life, this is how this happens. Somebody dies, and it's like you're left holding the bag of what happens next. And it's, you have to do the burial and you have to do the thing. And I've had to do this several times, and much more in the last few years. And it's a lot like life. It happens so suddenly, and I didn't.
Well, even if you're prepared,
you're not prepared. Yeah.
It's still not. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, even though you know it's coming, and that's very similar in this situation.
And all the things that
Yeah.
you have to do as a result of this, right after this, all the things, taking him back to the thing, burying him, and
Yeah.
you have to tell Tommy.
you don't get
it's
time.
The whole thing.
You don't
Yeah.
get time.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I
just
appreciated
gonna-
that.
I'm just gonna read off these last couple
Sure.
comments, and then we can roll back in. So Francisco says he didn't think people ever really cared about Abby's father, so he's like surprised that there's this big fuss over it, which fair. But Heather asked, were they all Fireflies, and they also lost people via Joel? Yes, they do. Kind of, I don't know if they directly mention it. I feel like they directly mention it in the first episode. But yes, they have lost people. I don't think no one feels the same way as Abby does, as far as we can tell. It just doesn't come across. I think they all kind of understand, or maybe a little bit desensitized to the fact that you just lose people in this world. It's just how it is.
I think the event in general is enough to galvanize them all, because it's definitely, you know, Abby and them are all friends, and they were all in the Fireflies together, so they all knew her father, and they served with the people that Joel killed. So they have to have lost friends and possibly family members, though it's never directly mentioned in the game if any of the other people in Abby's group were directly affected by Joel's actions, other than how it affected her. So
Well, we talked about that in Walking Dead coverage too, about how some people just couldn't get over, like, let's take Dirty Martha, right?
From Fear the Walking Dead,
Because
right?
Fear the Walking Dead,
Season
right,
yeah.
from
4.
Fear, because she lost her mind because nobody would stop to help. But you know, there's lots of people that were in the same position she was, and they didn't go crazy. You know, I mean, it's just the person. And like you guys were saying, they're her friends obviously lost people too, and they're not losing their minds over it. So there's something in her that just went overboard with it.
Unstable.
It broke something for her. Yeah.
Can I say something? I love that observation. And at the time, we've brought it up every now and again throughout the years. And I remember saying this. I said, I'm surprised more people don't break, especially considering everything it takes to live in this world. But what I also want to say is to respond to why she's like this and why everybody goes along. We talk about mission-oriented objective thinking. It's also that friend that is overly emotional and takes all of the, I don't know, the emotional oxygen. No, not you, Bridget. It's me.
It's calling me?
when somebody
I am.
over emotes and doesn't give anybody the opportunity to really do the same, or you have to
Oh, I
be
hope I
there
don't
for that person too, and so it's you don't really have time to emote and grieve and there, and then it's off to the races. That friend is going to a place that you can't follow, but you still have to follow because they're your friend.
Yeah.
So it's a lot like that. The emotional oxygen is just completely consumed, and there's no place for your emotions. And
Well,
we
I
have
think
family members like that too. I mean, it's
looking at that as it pertains to Abby and her friends, Owen has an aside with the rest of the group, and they're like, "So what's this plan you're talking about?" He's like, "The plan is to get her to turn around because the only people dying if we go in there is us." And he's very much like that in the game as well. He's constantly trying to like get her to take a step back and just look at what you're asking us to do. You know what I mean? And so those are very similar.
can I hit on that a little bit because
Yeah.
she says, Joel says, "I saved your life," and she goes, "What life?" Therefore, confirming Owen's worst fears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I died when he died, and
Yeah.
I committed my life to this one moment.
Which I have to say, like, Owen is then like the true great leader in that moment because he cares about his people and that's his priority, is keeping his people safe. Whereas Abby is the active leader in this, but is very headstrong about a personal vendetta instead of focusing on the people that she's dragging along with her.
Yeah. And I'm so excited to see more of those characters because Owen is a great character. And I would love to see the show dig into that a little bit more. And so far, I've been a little bit sad to see that they have so far omitted some of that character development and the dynamics between Abby, Owen, and the other people that were with them. Now, I'm not saying they won't include those things later.
Because
They
now that
just
it's
haven't-
happened,
Yeah, they haven't so far, but a lot has happened so far, and I understand like some of those things have to get pushed to the side because, you know, storytelling reasons. That's too much to add in all at once. But I'm hoping we get to see more of that because, like I said, Owen is a great character, and he's one of my favorites in the game.
yeah. Bridget, you don't have Tim's comments from Facebook, so let me read those. Actually,
I do. No, I do.
You do?
I do. Yep.
Okay.
Tim Below said, "I loved that they kept Tommy at the town to give him his opportunity to save the town," which is a really great point because this is Tommy's like life's work, right? Like is Jason Hall. So it's like it's really cool to see him
Be
there
Joel.
and being the leader, just truly being the leader of this town.
It's
Which
like
is
Joel 2.0.
awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
a kinder, gentler Joel.
Well, and I'd like to see him and his wife work together to defend the town, but also all of these other people are there, and
They look up
and
to
so
him.
everyone is really just like pulling together for the community, which is really cool to see. And although we're not getting all the character development for all of these side people,
Right.
you are getting these little small stories
Yes.
with the cut to the person showing his bite and handing the gun
Yes.
off. Like there's
Show,
all
don't tell.
there's
It's
these
a
like
great
little
scene. Yeah.
these little things are happening kind of on the periphery that unless you're paying attention, obviously the camera directed to that, we were supposed to pay attention, but I think if you went back and watched, you probably see a little bit more of that community working together, which is really cool to see. Tim
Defending
also
the
said-
walls was giving me super
Game of Thrones vibes.
Yeah, very much
Espe-
so.
Yeah, especially
Very
like the
much
barrels,
so.
rolling the barrels off of the sides and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim
That was
also
really cool
said,
to see.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that they ripped this Band-Aid off early because there is so much character evolution to fit into the season. Also, Abby not being a Ronda Rousey build, we can now see it's cut off.
Parallels between her and Ellie better.
Thank you.
They are a mirror image. That's
Oh,
the point.
see, I think that's really great. I think that's
Yes.
really great. That's a really good point. Thank you, Tim.
That's
Thank you.
Tim for you.
I love that. Tim, love
Yes.
you. I
That is a good point. Yeah. I
love
that.
you. Heather also said that now that she's had a minute to process, I actually appreciate that they did it in episode 2. It made it 10 times more shocking. And then
More shocking and
Anna-
also mercy, too.
Yeah.
to not stretch it out.
Like Carl's
Anonymity
death.
Coffee said, I loved the bloater. I did love that we got another bloater. because
Yes.
that was one of the coolest parts of season 1. So
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But you can tell why they don't want to overuse it, because it's like, oh God, how can these
Well,
people win with all these things
it
around?
stresses me out seeing it. Like it's I have like PTSD from playing that part of the game. Like
There's
And
not
didn't
a
we get
ton-
that now?
There's not a ton of bloaters in the game, like
No.
the first one or the second one. There's another thing you have to deal with later in the second. We'll see it, I'm sure. But I did want to mention, if we're on the bloater, if I could mention the cool parts that
Might
I
as
saw.
well.
Yes, yeah, please.
I think we'll find our way to the part that I want to talk about. Go ahead.
So the fact that the bloater blasted through the wall is such a game pulled thing, because I just passed several areas where in my replay where the bloaters just, they roar and they charge at you and they just blast through the wall. So you're not even safe hiding behind the wall. So I thought it was really cool that they included that. Like, this will protect against this giant horde, but it's going to do nothing against one single bloater. So it blasted through. And the fact that they had flamethrowers, which is a weapon that you can get in the first game towards the end of it. And it's the single best way to deal with bloaters. But it does use up fuel really fast. So the whole scene of him like desperately flaming this bloater and just running out of fuel at the last possible second, like, it was just so perfect the way they did that. And I was really thrilled about the whole sequence in general. And I was really concerned that Tommy was gonna not make it through.
Yeah, is this why they've held him off on the side?
They got me. They got me with that.
Why, show? Why? Oh.
I mean, I'm sorry, but if it was a trade-off between Tommy and Joel, I mean, there's really not a contest there.
Of course not.
Well, see, I think many of us were mentally, whether you played the game or you just kind of knew what was going to happen, now we can finally talk about it. I think many of us were mentally prepared for us to lose Joel. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think many of us were mentally prepared to lose Tommy, who I think many of us have grown some affection for, like you said, about watching him be a leader and having him be beloved, talking to that kid. No, not run to the forest, darling. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That scene made me laugh because I was like, oh yeah,
is that to tell that he's gonna die?
Like, I forgot. I
he's from
forgot like
Texas.
where Joel and his brother are from until that scene started. I don't know what is doing that sound. And I was like, oh yeah, he's got like the drawl again, and I was like, huh, this reminds me of me. Sometimes when I'm making like more public like speeches, sometimes the Southern accent like kicks back in because of just like where I grew up, and then I was gone from that area and in the Midwest, and now I'm back in the South, and so sometimes if I'm like, all of a sudden it like kicks back in. So for anybody who's like, where did this come from all of a sudden again? That happens in real life. Okay,
For me, it's when your Midwestern accent comes in. I'm like, Dave.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. All right.
I mean,
golly.
if I could survive Ned Stark and I could survive John Dory, then they can't really shock me anymore.
And Glenn.
I was just gonna ask you because you didn't know what was gonna happen.
I didn't know. No, I didn't know, but I was like, well, like I said, after the shock of Ned Stark, I don't trust any show to not kill somebody off right away. So
it's probably like the best way to go into a TV show, honestly.
Well, especially
although I will say it has ruined a lot of primetime television for me now. Because now when I watch primetime television, I'm like, where's your weight? Oh, death, where is thy sting? Like, where is it? Like, because
everybody survives. What a ripoff!
I know. Oh, there was no actual conflict. Everyone's fine. It's like not as fun.
Which is kind of like what it's going to be my comment about Joel's death, is that I didn't feel it that hard.
Or were you not attached to the character, or is just?
I don't know what it was.
Some clue.
I think because it happens to me so fast. Like, you know what? It started with the whole shooting him in the knee with the shotgun. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is okay. Here we are. I
did brace myself. I was like, oh okay.
And the fact that it kept going. Happening. See, it wasn't like the Negan's. Okay, the Negan scene was like my heart was beating. And I remember it kept beating into the next season because it ended season 7. It ended season 6. And then went to season 7. My heart palpitations and like this. And then on the trail. And it keeps going. Rick's on the trailer with the axe and the guy hanging from the bridge. Oh, God. None of that. I mean,
But Dave, let me ask, did you know ahead of time about the lineup scene
did I actually?
before?
Did I?
Like,
No,
because
I
that's the
didn't.
thing.
I didn't.
The
Yeah,
comic
see, I
books,
already knew about them. Knew because
comic
I had been
books,
spoiled already.
the comic books were. I mean, people had read them. They were very popular.
Sure.
Otherwise,
Sure, dude.
they
There's
wouldn't
like
have been
a
made into
cell
a.
phone sound. I don't know if that's something you could help. Now there's a dog sound. No, you're fine. You're fine. Sorry. Who was talking now? Sorry. I think it was Sharon,
Me.
right? Oh, okay.
Me. It was me. It's always me, Dave. Um, I'm talking so much, so often.
It's my job.
Yikes. I hurt my own feelings.
Oh, you. I think you were asking me.
So,
Oh no.
so yeah,
Okay,
I was
cool.
asking because this video game, remember it came out in 2020, so this was during like COVID.
Mhm.
2019.
It was about
But yeah.
zombies. It was this was like okay, so like yeah, cusp of COVID. People were at home, they were playing video games. People were chronically online because you didn't have anything else to do. So people were finding out about this like way ahead of time. Like I mean, you knew, Dave. You knew from like just the zeitgeist, like you knew how
Oh,
that this had happened.
yeah.
Because you're into video games, so you know about video games. I think that with the comic books for Walking Dead, the viewership was ginormous during that time. You remember premieres were getting like what 17 million viewers? It was some insane number. It was like
Yeah.
it was getting like a really
Because
high
people were at
numbers.
home and that's all they.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
there are not that many people who love comic books as there are who love video games.
Not anymore. Or
Do you know
if
what I
there
mean?
are, it's just this. It's a different kind of fandom. One is more immediate
Yeah.
gratification. One is like, okay, we gotta wait a month for the next
Yeah.
copy. You know. So
So to me, it's like, okay, so did you even know? Because that's why your heart was palpitating, because I hadn't read that far in the comic books at that time, and so that like was very traumatic, very high energy because I didn't know what was going to happen. I already knew what was happening with
well,
this.
I think two things can be true because that's what I wanted to bring into this was that the whole Glenn death and then Ned Stark and then and all that stuff, but it's also what you were saying exactly. It was that maybe it is just a matter of the fact that I knew it. I knew it was coming and there was no stopping this freight train from. I mean, there's obviously the differences that happened and they did pull back on the violence. And I have a feeling if they had shown us up close what Abby did, and I'm kind of thankful, sure, because I don't think they want to make that the emphasis of it. They want to make the people witnessing what happened the backboard for what is currently happening, like seeing Ellie.
Well,
and
the
all
death
that.
is over, so the rest of it has to continue the story now.
Right, and then the horror from her own crew is the emotional impact you're to have. But then it's like I said, it's like seeing the lineup being desensitized from this point forward, knowing that it's happening, knowing that it was always going to happen, probably. It did take some of the punch from it. I'm not saying this is a negative thing at all, by the way. I'm just saying that maybe, like Heather, the fact that Heather is here to tell me how she felt about it so viscerally tells me everything I need to know about how this should have gone down, and I'm totally fine with that. This is not a negative thing. I wish I'd felt it more. I wish I hadn't known what I know. But here we are.
I see. Yeah, I feel that same way. I wish that I didn't know so that I could have gone into this. Like I go back and I'm like, I wish I could watch Walking Dead for the first time again because it was so impactful to my life. It's the same kind of feeling for this. I wish I didn't know anything about this video game so that I could watch this and truly just take it in. But it's too late. I can't do anything about it.
I said earlier that, well, you weren't here yet, but I was saying Karina's in the position I'm usually in, like with Game of Thrones, and I usually know what's going to come, and this time I didn't, but I don't know. I love Joel. I don't know why it didn't really, again, maybe it's just I'm kind of desensitized to after all the other John, like I said, John Dory. If I could get through John Dory, I'm golden.
Yeah, that was pretty tough. Does anybody have their cell phone next to their computer, like right next to it? Because that's what's going through our headphones.
I do, but it literally has been the whole time.
It's been going off throughout the
mine
episode.
I have mine's sitting way over there. I haven't touched it since it made the buzzing sound a little
I mean,
while
like
ago.
I'm touching it and it's not
I
doing
just
anything.
moved mine
but
further
I can,
away just in case.
Yeah, we'll see.
I can move it.
I'd
It's
look
just
at
that's
the
how I read the comments.
the levels to see where it's coming from. I don't know, but it's okay. Could it be mine? No,
So-
it's in the same spot as always. But anyway,
I will say
Well, so
for
is
me, with the as far as the impact that Joel's death had, I was very strongly impacted by it because I did manage to avoid spoilers. I had heard rumors before I played the game that Joel might die, and I was
that's
like,
rough.
I don't like the idea of that. And then like I was playing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're true, and it was so impactful and so emotional. It colored my playing the rest of the game. Like I said, I really did not like Abby, the character, and my first playthrough. I played it through again immediately afterwards, and by then I had leveled out a little bit emotionally about what happened, and I was able to appreciate her a lot more. But it's still emotionally impactful. When I played the game over again, I texted the Discord and said, guys, I'm crying already. And because it was impactful again, and I was teary-eyed watching it happen on the show last night. Like, I'm
That's what I
well
wanted to know.
aware of what happened, and it still impacts me emotionally because it's a difficult scene.
see,
And I remember how I felt the first time I watched it. So, you know,
I was gonna
just-
say,
I definitely
Oh.
had to go watch something funny afterwards. Like I was like, all right, I need a palate cleanser.
gemstones right afterwards, right? If you're watching live.
I didn't watch it. I watched Hacks actually,
Okay.
which
but
is also great.
What I was gonna say though is I think I'm in this weird, terrible spot of knowing it, not having seen it originally, seeing it on the show for the first time in this limbo of where like, but you,
doesn't matter.
this is like Total Recall. It's like the PTSD effect. Oh, and I'm watching. It's so much more real and so much more
Yeah.
visceral.
It hurts every time.
It hurts
And it
two
always-
times.
It always will every time. So, but in many ways with Walking Dead, I had a similar effect because I started. That was crazy.
Ignore the man behind the curtain.
I had a similar thing happen where the first on-screen death in Walking Dead that I experienced fresh was Carl. So I was aware of everything that came before that. So all of those things were not as impactful for me. Like, yes, they were like the whole lineup scene was still like, wow, that was crazy. But like, I wasn't emotionally scarred by it or anything
see.
like that. And then Carl's death, I was shocked by because, like I said, it was the first one that I had seen. And I know that that's not something that happened in the comics. And that was just out of the blue, seemingly. So, you know, it was very shocking. But yeah, I think having some kind of exposure to it, even just knowledge, like, you know, nebulous knowledge of what could happen or what does happen can affect how impactful it is. So
And
I'm
not
grateful
having-
that's go ahead.
Oh, and not having seen it even.
Yeah.
Hearing it,
Yeah.
not having seen it ahead of it,
Yeah.
and then seeing it, that's just terrible.
But I'm still grateful that I have received so many messages from people saying how shocked they were. So it's not as if it's no shock to anyone. So
Correct,
some people
yeah.
are still experiencing this story for the first time, and they're like, I had no idea. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. Like, and I'm like, oh, my heart goes out to you because
It's
I
like, how
know
do you think
how
I
that
feel?
feels. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, I know how it felt, and it's
Welcome to the party,
terrible.
pal.
Karina, I just love that you played it through, and that even though you disliked Abby, because that's really like the general consensus about Abby, is she's very strongly disliked from people when the game originally came out.
Yes.
I was like, people
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like, I hate this character.
So much hate.
There was so much hate. So for you to go back and immediately play it again and
Yeah.
be like, I'm gonna sort through these feelings. That's really incredible that you did that. I don't know. I know you love video games, and so
I do.
this is where that really shows. But I just think that's a
Yeah.
really cool
But
thing
it's-
that you do.
It speaks a lot too to the storytelling because
much
even though I
respect.
didn't like the character, they did a really good job of helping you understand the character. So
Humanize
even
her.
though I was very much against wanting to feel anything for her, by the end of that story arc, I did feel something for her. So that's part of the reason that I went back and played again. Also too, gameplay stuff only, no spoilers for the show or anything like that. I refused to level up or upgrade Abby at all because I was like, well, clearly Ellie and Abby are going to have a showdown at the end. Well, why would I shoot myself in the foot by leveling up Abby? And guess what? I shot myself in the foot by not leveling up Abby. So that was the other reason I wanted to replay it, because I made things harder for myself for no reason.
I
was
love getting to
starting
know this
wonder,
about
are you
you.
like, are you like a completionist? Do you have to, you know, are you trying to like
I mean,
unlock all the achievements, or because that's the kind of
some
person I am.
sometimes. So I
Depends
still
on the
have
game.
not. I still have not collected all of the trading cards or all of the
Oh.
coins that you can collect because there, Ellie collects trading cards and
Yes.
Abby collects coins. So no, I haven't found all of those. But in many ways, yes. So like, depending on how difficult the achievements are to get, like if it involves online stuff at all, like
Oh, yeah, that's
whatever,
different.
that's not going to happen. But yeah, for Silent Hill 2, I played it through. I got 8 different endings, and I played it 8 different times to do that, and I was happy. I was thrilled to do it.
My kind of gal. Oh, I love it.
I love that. I get really invested and then I get frustrated and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I have to take a
It
step
really
back for a
does.
while.
So you, by the way.
I know.
I did
Like
that with,
competing desires, right? It's like I want to
Yeah.
do all of this, and then you're like, this is not happening as fast as I want it to.
Exactly. I'm not instantly good at things, so I don't like it then.
How
I
dare.
did Final Fantasy X 2.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
I
Okay.
played that all the way through, and I got every single item.
No.
Wow.
I played
way.
it. I played it through the first time just to play it.
Did you get all the attributes? For
Oh
the,
my lord.
I got every item.
Oh
when I
my.
went back and played it again, I had to go to each world
Yeah.
on each level.
Yeah.
You know, like because you had to go to each. So yeah, but I did it. That was the only one I ever
That's
did it on.
crazy. That's insanity.
That is
And
insane.
But that is me
game
too. But not me.
But that game, especially, is notoriously difficult to 100%. Final Fantasy X 2, it's crazy hard to 100%.
Yeah.
So
That was the only
kudos.
one I ever did it on.
Kudos.
That was it. That was enough for your entire lifetime.
And no more.
I agree. Let's pause right here because
yeah.
there's a couple things that we need to do. One of which is I needed to mention this before I forgot. Black Mirror is back. Everybody, the new season of Black Mirror on Netflix. Bridget's gonna be like, I don't watch Netflix. It's pedestrian, but it's great, and I think you
No,
should.
Dave, they won't let me get count share.
Just shut your mouth, my God. Anyway, I'm just kidding. It's great. I have loved slow playing it because I know there's only so many episodes. But in it, because we're talking about video games, in it there's an episode whereby the whole Tuckersoft universe thing comes back again. It was present in the last season.
I am like mortified by Black Mirror, and I cannot watch it.
I get it.
There are episodes that I still think about that I watched like when
It first came
in
out.
like much earlier seasons of Black Mirror. Like
Yeah.
the social credit one, I'm wrecked for life over that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am wrecked for life over that.
The only one I ever watched.
And then there's
was
one in the first season, and you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course.
The only one I ever did was the Choose Your Own Adventure one.
So that's
Oh,
that's the Tuckersoft-ish angle that they bring back in this one episode that I just watched. And in it, you can actually, there's a QR code in the credits for you to download a game that is based on that episode. And I played it for too long early in the morning. 4:30 rolls around and I'm like, this is, first of all, this is great. It's just super great. Just that there's this companion to this episode that you are in the same headspace as the character in that episode. Yeah, exactly. Yay. So, but I just wanted to mention that because if you'd watched that episode and missed the QR code, you should go back, scan it, download the game. It's really entertaining. It's this mobile phone game. It's typical, obviously, and it makes perfect sense.
This is why he's all about mobile phone games right now. This is why.
I have an addiction, and I know not to download them. But for this
I'm
instance,
on Candy Crush.
They're designed to be addictive, Dave.
Yeah,
100%.
But I'll say it's just a great storytelling companion to that episode to get you in the headspace as this person in the show.
No, that's very fun.
Brilliant.
It's very cool to have a tie-in like that.
And it gives you emotional investment too. Because I won't say anything more, but the things that you're playing with in the game, these little characters, you sort of understand where this person's coming from, where you might not initially, by the way. Anyway, so let's read some of the chat. That's the second thing I wanted to say, Bridget.
Yeah, I got you.
And then I want to move on to a specific point in the show.
Anonymity Coffee had stated, I can't wait to see the Shambler and the Rat King, which was alluded to by...
Which is what Karina didn't want to say earlier.
Okay.
Shush.
We all knew.
We saw it in Dead City, Karina.
Yeah, we all knew. Heather said Ellie Ellie will be in revenge mode now, but it would have been interesting to see her perspective if she knew what Abby was after and why prior to Joel's death. She's been so mad at him for the same reason.
That's what I was saying in the last episode about the
Mhm.
emotional impact.
And Heather says she told Karina that this was the first time she felt this from a show since Herschel's death. Which
Yes.
Heather, oh Heather.
I feel
know.
it. I feel
Um,
it.
All right. So Francisco said about the bloater. I just want to say I appreciate the show for featuring the clickers more, since 100% of people love the game because of the monsters.
Mhm.
And I had to go talk a walk after the episode. I can't believe they actually did it on television.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
All right, Francisco. It's rare that we get
Uh,
100% approval from Francisco.
Yeah.
a moment.
Anonymity Coffee said I still don't like Abby, and that's fair.
That's fair.
I
You're
mean,
valid. It's okay.
I understand it. Yes. I've been there.
It's bad. And then Francisco asks, "Have you finished season 3 of Doctor Stone yet, David?"
Yes, I have. I have to move on to season 4 now, Francisco. Oh, so yeah, that actually reminds me of what I also wanted to say. I think, right?
That's all the comments, so you can move on
Oh.
if you would like to.
We will be checking in with you after every single episode to find out how you feel about Abby as the story unfolds, because undoubtedly, like we've been saying, we're going to start to humanize her and start to understand her. I think the first window into that is the way she treats Dina. Assuming she's assuming that this is her daughter figure at the very least. She doesn't want Dina to experience the horror that she witnessed at, finding her father's body. And I think we're going to keep going down this path of conflicting feelings towards Abby. And I'm glad that we can maybe see this in human form rather than video game form, because it might be a little bit more visceral. You tend to have feelings for things that look like you, meaning
Yeah.
it looks human. I
Well,
can actually feel
yeah.
for it, but
There's more emotion in the micro expressions that we make, and
That
you know,
can-
a good actor is able to carry through a little bit more.
less
on a-
uncanny valley.
Well, I mean,
Well,
they motion
I-
capped, so a
I
lot of
would
it was
say-
really well done.
I
But
would, I
but
would
you know what I
argue,
mean.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
an issue in The Last of Us. It's very emotive and
Oh, I'm just saying it's like the death scene. It's like Joel's death scene. It's like, whoa, this is like, it looks like it's happening, rather than,
Yeah.
oh, this
Yeah.
is a video game. I
Well, to
know that I'm
be-
in a video game. Whatever.
well, I mean, I mean, the video game is very well done, and the cutscenes are gorgeously animated.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
not
believable.
not a knock
It's
on the
believable
game.
when you're playing it.
It's not a knock on the game,
believable
but
when
just
you're
to
playing it.
have that come into like, what?
I understand what you're saying.
This
There's
feels
a little
real.
more. There's a little more to it when you can see a person's, I don't know,
There's more
flesh
that,
and bones enacted. I don't know.
and
I
also
don't
the
know how
different
to feel about it.
interpretations that might take, and maybe some different changes that undoubtedly will have to occur to make you
Correct.
feel even
I
further.
just watched an interview with Druckmann where he stated that he only casted Lauren Bailey because of a very small, nuanced thing that she did in her read. And that
In the
actually
game,
there
sorry.
were a lot of, yes, and for the game, there were a lot of other people who had auditioned. They had stated we were pretty adamant that we weren't going to go with Lauren Bailey. She had been in a lot of things, and so we really wanted to move away to somebody else. And so they were going to pick somebody else, but he went back and he was like, at the end of the read, I was sure I was casting someone else.
Mhm.
He went back and he watched all of the video. I probably sent this to you, Dave. If I didn't, let me know and I'll send it to you and we can repost it on TikTok so people can see it. But he
So
went
follow
back
us
and
on
he
TikTok,
watched-
by the way, at
Yeah,
Squawking
he-
Dead, one word.
You should. We went through and watched the footage, and scene by scene and like frame by frame, he watched the footage. And there's one particular point, he doesn't reference exactly what it is, but he states that she had a nuanced performance of vulnerability that no one else expressed in that scene.
Everybody had a
And
1
that-
minute performance.
That was enough for him to be like, okay. So he went back to everybody else and he said, this is who we need to cast. And everyone else is like, no, we said no, Lauren Bailey. And then he was like, look, I go to this frame. He like tells them exactly where to go to watch. They all go back, do the same thing, watch the read, and they all come back and say, yep, she's the one. And we're talking motion capture. Like this is
Yeah.
just like, she was that emotive in her motion capture. It was so nuanced, so small, but they were still able to pick it up.
Right, because you have to go so
Just-
big for mocap. So
That I'm just saying they do
Yeah.
a really great job of capturing that.
I was going to say something in addition to that, though, but well, this is kind of what I was saying about Caitlin Deaver, too. Is that having seen her in apple cider vinegar, I'm like, and having her look so close to Abby's, facial features and stuff like that. There could be no better. She plays delusional very well, overly emotive.
Mhm.
I was very excited to see what she can do for the role of Abby. So.
Yeah.
I think she's going to portray Abby very well. And again, I don't think that the physical differences in their bodies are going to make a difference in the way she portrays this character, because at her core she is someone who comes off as very confident and very strong and very determined, but she has all of that is a cover for this feeling of vulnerability, and it all started with the death of her father, like, and that's where it comes back to, and that's why she keeps having the recurring nightmare. That recurring nightmare then pushes her forward in the story, and I won't say how because I'm not sure if they're going to do it the same way, but that nightmare morphs into something that she understands. Oh, I have to do this now, like, even though it's not what I would have chosen, that's what I'm going to do. And so I think that she's going to portray that very well, and I am curious to see how they show the rest of the story, because in the game you follow Ellie for the first half and then you follow Abby for the second half, and they've already started to humanize Abby a lot by starting with her her scene post Firefly
In the first episode.
destruction. Yeah, in the first episode you already start to see her motivations and why she's done that, whereas in the game I think another reason why people hated her so much is because she just swoops in, you don't know who she is or why she's there, and then this horrible thing happens, and then you have to wait till the second half of the game, which is not a short game, by the way, to even start to see why she did any of that. So it's
very divisive.
It's
I love it.
understandable why people were so upset, and I think now they're doing a really good job of humanizing her a little bit more right in the beginning, and even too with her speech that she got to say to Joel. That doesn't happen in the game. It essentially goes down like, he's like, "Who are you people?" And she's like, "Guess." And he's like, "Why don't you just say whatever speech you got rehearsed and let's get this over with?" And it just starts in, and she immediately goes right to, "You don't get to rush this." And then that's how it starts. There's no explanation at all. And in the show version, we get a lot of exposition and a lot of like what she's thinking of and what she's had 5 years to dwell on and rehearse. And she actually does say it. I mean, we get a little bit of Joel saying like, "Let's just go, let's just do it." So I'm glad that they included it a little bit, but I still kind of missed that line of Joel just being like, just say whatever you're gonna say and do it.
It's
a
very Joel.
I don't
It's a
really
very
care.
Joel
Yeah.
thing to do. Yeah.
Like I don't really
Wrap
care
it
what
up.
speech you have. Like, let's just do it.
Well, it's like if
Yeah.
you're gonna kill me, just get it over with. I don't want to have to listen to you.
At that point,
get
he's
all
already
this out.
Yeah, he's already been shot in the leg. What does he care what you have to say at this point?
I'm dying either way. Let's get it over with.
Yeah.
I
I wanted to say there was something I wanted to mention about the like makeup costuming in the scene in Abby's dream sequence
okay.
that I thought was really cool, and it's just a really small detail, but I think it was really subtle and just it was really cool to see it this way. So obviously Caitlin Devers is the same age in all of these scenes that have been shot. There's not a ton of time in between. But what they do is for young Caitlin, they have her hair French braided up high. So it pulls upward and away from her face here.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And when they're showcasing older Caitlin, this 5-year post time jump Caitlin, Abby.
You mean Abby?
Abby. They have her now. Her part is switched because her part is more in the center because it has to be when you do like a French braid. But it's also more off to the side now, and her hair is pulled low at like the nape of her neck and braided down there instead. And oftentimes people will state, this is especially like a very in thing right now with like Gen Z and like younger generation, stating that like millennials tended to have like a side part. It's often like a side part is often connected with people who are a little bit older because it was in at that time. Yep. I have a middle part because I got so insecure about the side part thing because I'm chronically online and it's a really bad thing. But anyway, so that like the pulling up and away from her face does make her look younger. So even though they're the same age, she's the same age in this scene, I think they did a really good job of showcasing how she could look younger in like a really subtle way in that. So I just thought it was a cool little detail.
Not something I would have noticed, actually.
Absolutely, yeah.
Typically. I appreciate that. There are a couple of rapid fire things I definitely want to go through and I do not want to miss. So if you don't mind, I'm going to sort of race through it.
Go.
Because we're almost at the 2-hour mark. Let me see. Yeah.
Yep.
So one thing is we're in episode 2 of season 2. If you remember what happened in episode 2 of season 1, Tess gives up her life so that Joel and Ellie could live on. In the beginning of that episode, you see Ellie in a grove of wildlife in this building that's taken residence, right? And she's sort of like in a fetal position sort of thing. At the end of this episode, she is sprawled out in somewhat a similar fashion with Joel. She crawls up to Joel and she kind of cuddles up to him a little bit, but in a similar position as Joel. But I like the mirroring. One is at the beginning of the episode in season 1, and this one occurs at the end of the episode in season 2 here at this second episode of season 2. So I thought there was a good mirror for that. It's also self-sacrifice because Joel sees Dina and obviously he wants her to live for Ellie to be the thing for her life and hey, have a happy life. And so he doesn't do anything to endanger Dina. Sacrifices himself for that. Does everything he can to make sure that she's not hurt. And I see there's a bit of a mirror here. Second thing, I want to go straight to this because there's a scene in this episode as the infected are rising from the ground terrifyingly. First when Abby comes down the hill, and then later on as the horses go past and they're trying to escape from that other contingent. And then there's these 2 infected groups going down from separate hills, and it looks like they're following Joel, Abby, and Dina. And then all of a sudden they turn. And I want to talk about with that one specific scene. Why did they turn? I want to give you a chance to figure this one out.
I know why.
I know you know why. I'm glad you know why. Now, when I was watching this, I was like, wait, why are they turning all of a sudden towards Jackson?
The mushroom mothership called them back.
How? We see it. We see how.
Through
Sort
the
of.
network.
Oh, the little
Through the network. Where?
in the
In the
tube.
pipes.
In the main line, right? The clay main line? Right. Because if you remember, we talked about this in season 1. That once you step on one of the mycelial network,
Yes.
it's how they see. It's how they can discover prey or something that they can eat. Is a natural thing, stepping on their little web of mycelial network, and then they come running. So I love that we didn't lose sight of that, or that we know that that's still a thing, and that,
You got like a reminder about it. Yeah.
and especially in the frigid cold, the mycelial network knew instinctively to wheedle its way eventually through time into the town, because I thought this is connected to the stalker thing, the smart infected. Oh, what? No, it's the same thing it always was. It's just more, I'm going to say more of an evolution. It's trying to find food. It looks like that science thing that you saw last year or 2 years ago.
Insulating itself. I mean, it's doing all sorts
In
of
the
like, really
twigs.
cool things. But that's how nature is, right?
Yeah. Oh, and I read
it's
up on
just-
it
it's
too.
A realistic representation of things that happen in nature.
Oh, and they're feeding off, by the way, they're feeding off of that dead infected too. All that organic material. The mycelia love eating dead things, bugs, tree stumps, dead tree stumps, even its own dead, I forget what it's called, the caps, the dead mushroom caps, they somehow get cut off. Nature kind of hits them off. It'll feed off of its own stuff. So it's feeding off of its dead infected too, the organic material that is in the dead infected, as well as being
Dave,
insulated.
Nature finds a way, you know?
Thanks. I was going to say something.
Jeff
offensive.
Goldblum?
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but fine, yes. I don't know why I was going to say that, but that's fine.
Heather's leaving, so say goodbye to Heather, everybody.
Goodbye to Heather, everybody.
Bye, Heather.
We love you.
Nice to have you.
Love you.
There was one more thing. Okay. If you don't mind, I'm going to just speed on over to Eugene Linden, as is Gail's husband who passed. Now, we know that Joel hates fireflies. and Firefly people. I had this thought, like, because a lot of what, because Abby and Jesse go to the 7-Eleven where there's the weed, and they're, oh, wow, that's a lot of weed. But part of it is you get a little bit more backstory on Eugene, who he might have been, and that he was a Firefly. And he quit it because he just hated killing people, because we saw it, Eugene saw it, we wanted it to stop happening to Joel and Tess, and so did Eugene. But I was thinking, why did Eugene have to die? What happened to Eugene? And I started thinking, if Joel is super protective over Ellie to the point where he would kill all the people in Salt Lake City facility, including the doctor, who he wasn't even looking, he just shot the doctor. I have a feeling, and I think Ellie also has a feeling based on this, and it links back to what might have happened at Salt Lake, because I don't think she knows for sure what happened, but I think based on what happened to Eugene is how Ellie picks up the clues about what happened in Salt Lake. I think Joel may have caused something for Eugene to die.
I did wonder that.
I disagree because if you listen
Because
to the
you know the game?
conversation, no. But if you listen
No.
to the conversation that, well, remember in the game Eugene dies of a stroke. It's just like a natural thing.
True.
Jesse and Ellie are having a conversation. He's like, it was really messed up how Joel had to put him down, which is commonly what you would refer, like if you get infected or bitten by a zombie.
We saw
or
in the
whatever else,
episode.
you have to put him down. So, and he said it couldn't be helped. And Ellie dejectedly looks at the floor like, yeah, it couldn't be helped. Like basically saying like she knows she's immune, but she has no way of helping people who get infected.
Oh, that's a good tell. Sure. That's a good way of looking at it too.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
Sure, fine.
fairly certain that he got infected and Joel had to kill him. So.
Yeah.
See,
that's the
I felt
reason.
like maybe Joel had put him in a position to be bitten.
That's what I was saying.
To then put him down, like because he was a Firefly. I don't know if there was some conversation that happened that we're not privy to at this point. I felt like maybe Joel had gone out of his way. And Joel is a trusted member in this community now.
Mhm.
So he could come back and say, I had to put him down. He got bit.
Or could have shown him being infected too. This is where
You
my
know,
thinking
and
lies.
people may have just gone like, oh, okay, I get that.
He's
Yeah.
thinking once a Firefly, always a Firefly. He'll just go back to his Firefly
Maybe.
people,
I
right?
mean,
Right,
I'm
Sharon?
open to it.
Firefly people.
I'm not saying that it's.
I know,
for
me
what
too.
happened, but I'm open to it.
It's just in my head.
I would like to also just point out, I'm happy that they made small changes to Eugene's character because you do find you're exploring with Ellie and Dina, and you find you're in the library, not a 7-Eleven, but you find
I like the poetry of a 7-Eleven being a
Right.
grown house, though.
right.
It's a burnout
but
hangout spot.
They find, Eugene's little workshop or whatever, and he liked to tinker with stuff, and she finds his Firefly pendant, and then they find the grow house underneath. But you can also find a letter that his wife sent him while he was in the Fireflies, begging him to come home and be with their daughter, so that that she would know him. She misses him. She has no idea. The mom doesn't have any idea, or I'm sorry, the mom doesn't know how to explain
Gail?
to her that she doesn't know when her dad is coming back, and so she's begging Eugene to come back. And it's sort of in the game left to seem like he joined the Fireflies, left his family to join the Fireflies,
Oh.
and then never returned to them, potentially, because nothing else is mentioned about it. And that's a little bit sad, because why wouldn't he go back to his family once he was done being a Firefly? But unless they were not around anymore. So I liked the change that they made in the show to Eugene's character. It's sadder that he died of, I am fairly certain, is getting bitten and being infected. How that occurred, I don't know. But
I think it's interesting because in the first season we saw that like they made changes to Bill's story so that we got like a fuller view of Bill. But all of those facts about Bill were in the game. There were little glimpses into things. So
Absolutely.
nothing was out of the realm of like what had already been created in the game. So it's interesting to kind of see this, like we are kind of, Eugene's character is just being fleshed out, but all of these little tidbits were in the game so that you did kind of know some of this stuff already, which I just think it's a really nice touch because the showrunners don't have to do that. Now I know Druckmann's in both, but he doesn't have to do that. Like no one has to be like, oh yeah, Druckmann's word is the Bible for this. Like they could just be like, yeah, no, that's lame. We don't want to do it.
Well, isn't that a lot like Kirkman too? Because Kirkman being involved in the show and having
Yeah.
authority over the show.
Well, him saying like, "Hey, look, cut off his hand really early, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Can we not do that in the show? Wait until way later."
Yeah.
Please,
Way later.
this is too much.
Yeah.
I did want to bring up one more thing. It's the only thing I really care about. The only thing I actually care about, and that is the Seth angle. Maria, played by Rutina Wesley, drags Ellie so that she can hear Seth's apology for what happened the night before at New Year's Eve, which it was an awful thing he thought and said. Probably being drunk, whatever. But he graciously apologized in sincerity, it felt like, because he said, I shouldn't have even thought it.
Well, he owned up to the fact that she says like, "Oh yeah, sarcastically, you said this thing that you definitely never thought before."
Right.
Because that is often like when you hang out with drunk people and they say really inappropriate stuff. Part of you is like, you've clearly thought about this before.
came
Otherwise,
from
you wouldn't.
somewhere.
It came
I've
from
said this.
somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it was really, I mean, it was great that she called him out, but it did feel sincere. Like he knows like, hey, look, I'm kind of a dinosaur in this situation. And I'm, this maybe would have been something I could have gotten away with before.
This
and
is all I
can't
can
now.
do.
Yeah. And all I could do is own up to it and say that I'm
Because
sorry.
we are all we have. I'm older now. I have this,
Yeah.
I may have my opinion. Maybe he still does have his opinions. There was feelings and thoughts about who she is and what she does. But it's like, it's not for me to judge. I'm an old man. We're all we have. It doesn't matter what I think and feel about a thing. I got too comfortable, just like Ellie got too comfortable living this long and shouting at things, shirking your responsibilities, being reckless. There is a mirror there. But he was old enough to go like, wait, whoa, this is all I have. This is the only thing I can do. I can only cook. I can't even defend this place. Probably, maybe. I don't know.
It was interesting to have Maria be the mediator, like almost, I don't know, something about that was like, okay, so did she go to him and say like, you have to do this? So there
I
was
think so.
there was part of that too, like almost like a reluctant child says they're sorry, but it did feel earnest. It didn't, I mean, it may have been forced, but it did feel genuine in a way.
Yeah, that he came to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say,
Well, especially
Go ahead.
especially contrasted with Ellie's flippant response.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I mean. Yeah.
He had the gravitas and she had zero.
Yeah. Well, I will say, so Jesse showing up to Ellie's garage apartment. That
I
is
We
love
talked
that,
a
'cause
lot
you
about
had
this in the
walked us
last
through.
episode.
You had walked us
Yeah.
through that whole thing. Yeah, it was
that's
funny.
the actual beginning of the game. That is that whole sequence of her talking with Jesse, having that conversation, walking into the bar, and having that awkward conversation with Seth. You see that before you see what he actually did. So I will say Seth's apology in the show is much, much better than the one in the game.
Much
Because the
more
one in the
sincere
game,
sounding.
because it has the vibe, because Maria's standing there making the two of them apologize. Well, Ellie doesn't have to apologize, but she's clearly forcing Seth to apologize because she's like, yeah, sorry, I made you some sandwiches. And like he gives it to her and she's like, great, thanks. And he's like, they're steak. And she's like, awesome. And she just doesn't have anything much to say about it. And she immediately
She immediately.
she immediately hands the sandwiches to Jesse, and he's like, oh, what's this? And she's like, bigot sandwiches. And so he takes them. He's like, great, more for me. He's like, you sure you don't want them? She's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And then they walk off and they do their patrol for the day. So yeah, that's very much a scene from the game where Maria is sort of like, okay, kiss and make up kind of thing.
Now kiss, right, Sharon?
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
And
It's
Ellie
weird.
is very much not interested in hearing anything he has to say. But like I said, he does come off as quite a bit more genuine in the show than he does in the game. So
I mean, sounds like a teenager to me.
yeah. I mean,
I will say the reason why I brought this up is because it makes sense that they did it this way. Because if you think about it, what was his name again? I just said it. Seth. Isn't Seth a stand-in for Joel in a way? That Joel did this horrible thing that had she heard it, she may not have forgiven him for it. And she doesn't actually really sort of know what happened. She knows something happened and he was responsible for it. Because for all she knows, they did something for him to have to retaliate. She doesn't know the extent of it, but she knows that he did something horrible. Probably. She doesn't know the circumstances that led to it. But I think it informs us where she is at mentally to be able to prepare to forgive somebody. Now, granted, Seth isn't Joel. And maybe I'm just saying this is her headspace. No forgiving, no forgetting, being reckless, not appreciating Joel while she still has him. I'm not saying Seth is Joel, but I'm just saying there's an added general attitude of
I see what you're saying.
no
I
forgiveness.
I think generally
I'll die not forgiving someone.
This whole like sequence of events is to showcase that Joel never once stopped being there for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what all of this is trying to sell. Now I get what you're saying, Dave, and I think that maybe in the show's version of it, there's like a little more symmetry to it, I guess, than in the game. But in the game, with it being like forced and kind of like a fake apology,
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think it's like a good use of
I
recycling the game's material to have more of an impact on what eventually is going to happen. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's read the rest of the comments and then we'll close the show.
There are no more. That's it.
The last of hairstyles, Francisco had said before you left.
Okay, yeah. I think we're good. I think we can just wrap it up.
Anonymity Coffee said, do you think have Rat King and Shambler in the show? And I'm like, well, I hope so.
Probably.
We don't know what those things are, quote unquote.
Yeah, no, whatever those might be.
There may be something that I don't know about, and we can imagine what they might be.
I couldn't even imagine what those could be.
But that's not a conversation for today.
The Rat King
was in Teenage
is
Mutant
in the
Ninja Turtles.
Nutcracker.
Okay, yes.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
that is
So
true.
my guess is they're going to put on a production of the Nutcracker, and the Rat King is going to be part of that.
You're
It's a
guessing
fundraiser. It's a
little too
fundraiser
close.
to raise money to fix
Right,
the town.
right, to fix the town, right.
Y'all are guessing a little too close. I don't like this.
Is there a character named Clara? Because that would just...
Just like bookend this conversation. Well, folks. We missed one thing
Oh no.
because it was a Karina thing. WLF. You had mentioned this in the last episode. We have no idea what that is, and I have a feeling it has something to do with the commander she had mentioned.
The
Named
wolves.
not William T. Dixon, because that wasn't the Walking Daryl Dixon. That's Isaac Dixon.
Do they have W's?
They do not.
Carved
They
On
do
their
not.
foreheads.
But WLF, they're commonly referred to as wolves. If you would like to know what WLF stands for, it is on the patch, so I don't know that it is a spoiler because you could easily take a screenshot of that.
Can you read it?
for.
Okay.
Yeah,
'cause
you can. It says well, it doesn't say. It just says WLF.
Oh, okay. So should I not spoil what it says?
Maybe let's save it. Maybe let's save it.
Let's
for
save
next
it.
one.
Let's save it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. Because if
It
you
stands for something.
yeah, well, I imagine so.
I think that was obvious.
Didn't look like an actual word in the English language, so
Sure.
Women love furries.
Oh no,
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't.
that's
I don't though.
I was
no.
like,
No, that's not for me.
it's We Love Frank.
yeah, we
Everybody
love
loves
Frank.
Frank.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Sure.
well, if you like what you've heard here, Frank, to head on. First of all, like this video if you've been watching this far.
Yeah.
Tell us what we might have missed in the comments. Share this live stream with your friends, if you have any. If you don't, just share them with random people. We'll be releasing clips of this episode. Obviously, you can share those as little teeny tidbits. And we'd appreciate it because it helps us grow. You could have tipped us on stream this entire time if you enjoyed what you've been watching. The link.
You better
is
start
in
liking
the-
this video on YouTube because I see you
already
on
said
here
that
and you're
before.
not liking it. Just
Like it.
She doesn't see again. No patience for gameplay. She doesn't do foreplay at all. She just goes straight to the point.
steamroller. Yeah, I had a hard time with the game because it is so much sneaking, and that's not how I play games.
No, she's just like the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah.
I'll send you clips of this one player. I don't know how they play the game this well, but they clearly have a lot of hours in it. But it's no sneaking. They're not sneaking through
Speed
nothing.
running.
I love
So,
that.
Oh my gosh,
Love
it's
that.
incredible. I'll
I
send
love
it to
it.
you.
Oh, cool.
I'm
Another,
like
another
that
TikTok
in racing
video.
games. Like You know, like in racing games, you have to put the brake on when you're going into the curves. I don't like to do that. That's
Nobody
why
does
I
that.
never am very
That's
good
why I
at
just
those.
ram into the wall over and over again.
That's a generation, by the way. I think that's a generational thing, by the way, because I
Let
was
me
the
be
same
clear.
way.
I only do that in games. I don't do that in real
Not in
life.
real
I
life.
do
Lies,
use my
lies
brakes.
and slander. Well, if you like what you heard, folks, aside from liking this video, if you're watching on YouTube, commenting, sharing it with your friends or not friends or just random people, consider rating us or reviewing us on ratethispodcast.com/squawking dead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need to know that you love us. But tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what you think we might have missed. It's possible. Just remember to tell us after every single episode. If you like this show, it's the free thing that helps us grow. And if you really like what we're doing, it did rhyme. I know. If you like the show, it's a thing that helps us grow. Bridget, I'm
I
so
was
clever, I
appalled.
don't even know it. But anyway, if you really like what we're doing, consider just following us on Ko-fi or Patreon. It's the only place we place our recording schedules when we are recording in the studio. It's free to follow. It's free to join us in the studio. You just have to follow us on Ko-fi or Patreon to get the schedule. Other than that, tip us on stream if you like what the message will come up, and I guarantee there's a GIF that comes up with the thing that says thank you, and your message gets read out loud on the stream. Shh, don't even say it, because I win.
This is why I bully him on the internet.
And
This is why.
and you can do it after the live stream. That's fine. We appreciate your feedback. It lets us know. It sends a signal that we're on the right track, that you're enjoying what you're watching. Consider joining a membership for either Ko-fi or Patreon for as little as $4 a month. If you happen to join the upper tiers, not the Walkers tier, you will get a free classic t-shirt upon signing up. If you happen to join the Survivors or Great M tier, you can show up in these episodes, in these boxes, alongside us as we break these episodes down. And if you happen to join the Great M tier, you can get our core channel, which has tons of insider conversations about screeners and producers and interviews and people who we might have on the show that we can't readily share in the rest of our channels. It's very expensive, but if you really like what we're doing and you have the money, it really could help us out. We could use the help. One last thing before I go, I wanted to actually mention the folks who do contribute to this podcast, namely the Great M Survivors and Whisperers tier members in that order. In the Great M tier, we have at Real Ryan GM on Instagram and X. In the Survivors
that guy.
tier, we have Douglas Atherton at Walking Dead Artist, the number 2 on Instagram. And
Hey, we love that guy too.
yeah, that's right. And in the Whisperers tier, we have at Kim.Rally, the number 1 on Facebook. And that's
I
it.
love her and her face so much.
She's the best. She's undoubtedly the best. I wish I could see more of her face.
We do get to see her face soon.
I want it more. And just come over, Kim Rally. I'll take you to dinner. The New York pizza's the best. I'm telling you. But Bridget will say New Jersey for some reason because I got it in her head that New Jersey pizza's the best for some reason.
That's where you took me.
It's true.
To get pizza.
True. It's a very true statement, but I just recalling a time that we talked about it.
It was good.
Well, I've been your host, David Cammie, and I was joined by Cosmo09, Rachel Burt, me.
Wow.
She left early, but I still
Okay,
wanted to
puppet.
invoke her
A
spirit.
puppet, though.
Lazy Gardner or Ned Stark, whichever you want to go with.
Bridget, I guess I'm next now. You can find me at youtube.com/@punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. And you should go there and you should subscribe and you should like my things. And okay.
You should.
And me, Karina. I go by Karina_D. That's CARINAE_D. Or at a Karina Art on TikTok and Facebook. So
And everywhere else, including YouTube.
Yeah.
You can see it in the description of this video. And speaking of the description of this video, if you have loved this, I have a lot more notes on this episode. And if you happen to tip us or join a membership tier, you can get those notes at the very end. The links to that will be in the description of this video and the audio podcast. Thank you for joining us for the second episode of The Last of Us. I think it's shaping up to be quite good. I love that a lot of things happened in a long period of time, and that my notes are so much less than I thought they were going to be, honestly, which is a sign of a really, really great episode. If it's self-explanatory, all the better, because Dave talks less. So, with that said, take care, everybody.
We say 2 hours later.
We'll see you in the next live stream, which will be next week on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. check us out in the chat. Hope you'll be there so you can shape the conversation. Take care, everybody. We'll see you
Yeah.
very soon.